afternoon, everyone, and welcome to RDTV's live coverage of the Safeway Select Provincial Men's Curling Championship from the Calgary Curling Club. I'm Barry DeLay, and joining me for the expert analysis this afternoon is Ron Myers, the national coach for Canadian Curling Association. And Ron, we could not ask for a better matchup today. Frank Morissette of Calgary against Kevin Martin of Edmonton.
Barry, the stage is set here at the Calgary Curling Club for what we expect to be a tremendous matchup of curling. First of all, we've got a team from the Northern Alberta Curling Association. We've got a team from the Southern Alberta Curling Association, and that in itself provides great rivalry. One thing we know for sure, we have two talented teams out here. Both teams right through each position have shown all week that they are capable of shooting in the 80s and the high 70s, and they've done that. Technically, we don't have any problem. I think the big question that we are concerned with here is the whole idea of pressure and what the pressure does, along with the experience that these teams bring. We certainly know that the Martin team and Walchuk and Bartlett have a wealth of experience at the provincial level, at the Canadian level, and certainly at the world level. Frank Morissette has been here, but it's been a while. The question that we have are the other players on the team. How well will they withstand the pressure of what this game really means to them? No doubt, the Morissette team, I think, a little bit of underdogs due to that, but they lived up to the pressure all week, playing very, very well. The other thing that we have here, and as a result, I have to give Martin the edge right now because of that, but the other thing that may equal it just a little bit is the whole idea of home crowd. Frank Morissette, as you know, plays out of the Calgary Curling Club, and it's going to be interesting to see the kind of impact that the crowd has on Frank and his team. I think if they start out strong and the crowd gets behind them, it could have an impact on how well they do and how well they play. And very interesting also will it be to see how the Martin team reacts to the crowd. So all in all, I think we're in for a tremendous game. We've got very talented players, and I look forward to working with you on what we think will be an action-packed game.
Okay, Ron, and for Kevin Martin, certainly getting to the provincials has become habit. The fourth championship in the last 6 years for Kevin Martin, and he has won the previous three in 91 and 92, and of course last year in Edmonton. And even with two new members on his rink, Martin finished first in the round robin this week with a 6-1 record, and last night he was a decisive 8-5 winner over Grand Prairie's Dennis Graver in the semifinals. His opponent, also no stranger to the provincial final. This will be Frank Morissette's fifth Alberta final as a skip, but he has never won. He will try to break that streak today at his home club. Morissette looked very sharp, beating Castor's Dwayne Dunkel 7-4 in last night's semis. It's Martin versus Morissette. The winner goes to the Brier in Kamloops, BC next month, and we'll return with the championship final right after this.
Here in curling, it's Husky, the quality products company.
Moving fast, cruising slow. When you're on the road, there's just one place to go. Husky, like a real good friend. People you count on time and again. No matter where the road may wind, we'll be there waiting down the line, giving you that peace of mind. Husky, here in Canada, Husky.
Some shops say they specialize in a lot of things. National Transmission, the care and maintenance of your transmission.
At National Transmission, we know our specialty, guaranteed. Oh, and we fix it right the first time.
If you or any of your family were injured in a car accident because of someone else's fault, you may have a lot of questions. If you don't know what to do, call Winston Elgersma at Vandenbrink and Elgersma, 343-6664. The initial consultation is free. Thereafter, no fee if no recovery. If you or any of your family were injured, give Vandenbrink and Elgersma a call.
Vandenbrink and Elgersma.
Call 343-6664. Remember, the initial consultation is free.
Gotta keep practicing. Gotta get these moves up. I'm gonna be the best basketball player in the world. Yes! Yes, someday I'm gonna be a Harlem Globetrotter!
See the Harlem Globetrotters live Monday, February 26th at the Red Deer Centrium. Tickets available at all Ticketmaster locations or charged by phone.
It's no coincidence. We've been able to call ourselves Canada's best newscast 2 years running. The RDTV News Crew. Weekdays at 5 o'clock. We don't wait till 6, and neither should you.
Discover why everybody's going to Majestic RV World for the largest selection of recreational vehicles in Western Canada, featuring an unbeatable lineup of Class A and Class C motorhomes. Experience the difference with Triple E motorhomes. 3 models to choose from: Empress, Commander, and Embassy. The best value on the market today. Climate, durability, and dependability have made Triple E a Canadian favorite for the best selection, for the best price. You must see Majestic RV.
And welcome back, everyone, curling fans across the province. It's RDTV's live coverage of the Safeway Select Provincial Men's Curling Championship, and we are just underway in End 1. Frank Morissette throwing the yellow rocks, and Kevin Martin throwing the red rocks. He has last rock advantage here in the first end on the strength of his first-place finish during the round robin. And I'm joined by Ron Myers, my expert analysis today. And Ron, it should be a good game, and early on we've seen some aggressiveness from Kevin Martin.
Yes, we have, Barry. I was quite surprised at the way the end already has got underway. Initially, Marlon Rosenchuk, as we anticipated, placed the rock in the rings, which would indicate somewhat of a defensive move that would test the two teams out at first, but immediately Kevin became aggressive with the corner guard, and the game is already on. So I think we're looking forward to perhaps something a little bit different than what we've seen here throughout the week, with Kevin Martin, as he has indicated, wanting to be a little more aggressive.
And we are to second stones right now. Sean Broda is the Martin second. There's a shot at Kevin Martin in his 4th provincial curling final in the past 6 years, and of course he has won the previous 3, the latest coming last year in Edmonton.
One of the interesting things about where Kevin is placing the broom, Barry, is they've done that all week as well. As you know, the Martin team throws very up weight, that indicates about 5 to 7 seconds between hog lines, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But that's the way they got here. They've been throwing extremely heavy weight at those, and the ice is running. The ice is running real straight for them doing that. Morissette, on the other hand, he will be a little bit more aggressive with his shots, taking more ice with less weight. So it's interesting to see how this will materialize.
Mine's good. How's the weight?
Gary Jensen has played extremely well all week.
Right.
He has led the seconds with an 81% average, which is excellent in this sport.
Come on.
Calling for that rock to be close to the rings. One of the things they don't want to do, of course, is with the rock behind the tee line of Morissette, that they want to make sure that this guard is tight so that it makes it more difficult if he elects to come around. Both of these teams will be aggressive, and one mistake, and I think we're going to see that the game is going to be on. Good sweeping. Of course, both Bartlett and Walchuk. Walchuk, having been a good front-end player with Pat Ryan over the years, certainly knows what the game of sweeping is all about, and he's a fine sweeper with excellent judgment.
Ron, both of these teams, as you mentioned, being aggressive. A lot of times we'll see in the early ends teams just playing hit, getting used to it, especially in a championship game. What does this do for the nerves or for the players to get right into the game right in that first end?
Well, as I indicated, I was quite surprised with Kevin going to the corner guard immediately. We can talk about that a little later on in the telecast, but with the free guard zone now, which means you can't take any rocks out between the hog line and the house until the 4th rock, corner guards, in my mind, are becoming less useful, and we will talk about that. So I expected what they were both going to be doing is with Morissette playing in the rings like he did, and then Martin going right after, hitting and taking advantage of that hammer, which he so deservedly won over the competition by finishing first. So that shot did surprise me, but they're going to play tight and close and feel each other out. You can believe it.
The Morissette third, Brian Brown placing that yellow rock in the 12-foot, so 2 stones counting for Morissette.
Normal. Slow turn right here.
Interesting comment from Kevin there, throw normal. Normal for this team is certainly up weight. And Johnny Walchuk, as his pattern has been over the years, is an artist at being able to throw that stone with the weight that they have with great accuracy.
Well, he gets the double, he does. And
great shot.
We've seen a lot of that this week from Don Walchuk. He had an excellent game in the semifinals yesterday against Dennis Graber.
Well, that's what this upweight does for them. They don't want to fool around with it. I talked a little bit with Pat Ryan yesterday. As you know, the Olympic playdowns were here, and asked him what the advantage of the heavyweight was that Martin and Walchuk used. And of course, his answer was that, you know, there's no error. The big question comes in the delivery. How quickly can you put all of that together and keep it on track, which is a talent that these two back-end players certainly have.
Brian Brown, the Morissette third.
Once again, you'll notice Frank taking a little more ice here. Ice down the center, very, very susceptible to release here. You don't want to set that rock out or turn it over because it will do funny things for you. Jamie Barassa, the ice maker for the Calgary Curling Club, has had trying conditions here all week with the weather and with the humidity, but the ice has been excellent. The speed of the ice has been fantastic. The rocks have been sliding very, very well. The problem may have been a little bit in the fact that the ice was too straight and that they weren't able to get as much of the curl that they wanted, but Jamie has tried everything, and I think we got the best ice conditions that we can possibly have considering the atmosphere in the arena or the rink. Here's an opportunity, or was an opportunity, and this is what Kevin was looking for with that corner guard, of having Walchuk try to remove that stone and get the roll. And this, again, is a questionable thing that we're talking about in terms of corner guards. In the early ends, fine, but I think we're seeing that corner guards now have to move more into the 4-foot area so that players can eventually use them to tap them back when the tough get going. And also, by putting a corner guard over on the far side makes it more difficult and further for the shot stone to roll, so making it a difficult shot. Very nice delivery by skip Frank Morissette. He may be a little bit hot here in terms of laying that rock outside. As I indicated, this ice is... oh, there it comes at the end. And a great shot by Frank. Nice weight. You can see the difference in the weight that these two skips throw.
Are these two very different teams, the way they play this game?
Both of these teams have the ability to be very aggressive. One of the things, again, about the Kevin Martin team is that they can change from this high, hard weight to when they have to come through the finesse shots, but I think they prefer to stay away from that thing. Frank Morissette's team, on the other hand, likes to be a little more aggressive. They thrive on the come-arounds, and I think we'll be looking for them as soon as they get the jitters out of their players to start putting some rocks a little further out and start to come around. Very nice shot. Kevin rolls into the center of the house, which he wants to do. Of course, Frank here now, of course, what he's going to be doing is trying to take the out turn, as indicated by Brian Brown, and he will hopefully throw and hit and roll behind that corner guard that Kevin Martin initially set up there at the beginning of the end. So if that does happen, though, I think you can see that Kevin will use his last rock to try to hit the rock, blanket, or be forced to draw for 1 point.
Good look at Brian Brown, the Morissette third.
Have to get on this one. Frank has asked both of the boys to sweep as hard as they possibly can. They're looking for that roll, but I think it's going to curl a little bit and possibly hit this on the nose. Yes, it does, and remain there. And, of course, Kevin now, as he has Walchuk place the broom, Post will come up with his 7-second wait and try to blank the end, and which we expected, maintain that hammer for as long as he possibly can.
Earlier, I asked Kevin Martin about this ice here at the Calgary Curling Club.
The only problem with the way I like to play is I like to be, very aggressive. And here you cannot bury around a corner guard from center line out. You can bury around corners if they're within the 4-foot strip around the wide side, but you can't come around from center line, which is it really holds back the team with the brick.
And as you're hearing from Kevin, he did make his final shot and roll out of the rings to blank this first end. So it is 0-0 as we head to end number 2 here at the Safeway Select Provincial Men's Curling Championship, and our coverage will continue right after this.
Moving fast, cruising slow. When you're on the road, there's just one place to go. Husky, like a real good friend. People you count on time and again. No matter where the road may wind, we'll be there waiting down the line, giving you that peace of mind. Husky, here in Canada, it's Husky. Sunshine,
Share the vision. All-weather windows. Imagine having the kitchen you've always dreamt about. Now you can with Eurotech Kitchens. You can count on the service you'll get from Eurotech, starting with a free in-home computer consultation, ensuring the design that's just right for you. Eurotech carries Canac, North America's top cabinet manufacturers for over 29 years, which means you get the top quality selection you want in a price range that's affordable. Whether it's custom work, a new fireplace, or your dream kitchen, you'll find beauty and quality at Eurotech Kitchens.
Welcome to the Steak Loft. It's inside the Elks Clubhouse and open to the public. When you arrive, you'll be greeted quickly and served with warmth. Come here for romance, to unwind with friends, or to enjoy that special occasion, maybe with a dance or two. Savor the meal in an atmosphere that's comfortable and relax with a view that's remarkable. Come take a look tonight. Step up to the Steak Loft at the top of the South Hill in Red Deer.
Discover the 20th annual Red Deer RV Exposition and Sale. Step inside an RV and imagine traveling to any destination with all the conveniences of home. Don't miss this RV extravaganza. 4 days only. February 16th to 19th at Westerner Park. Red Deer's 7 top RV dealers. Woody's, Vellner's, Uncle Ben's, Four Seasons, Venture, Southside Plymouth Chrysler, and Capital RV will all be there. February 16th to 19th at Westerner Park.
Welcome back to the Calgary Curling Club, RDTV's live coverage of the Safeway Select Men's Provincial Curling Championship. Barry DeLay along with Ron Myers in the booth. And after a blank first end, we are into the second end of play here. Frank Morissette and Kevin Martin. And so far, Ron, is it going about how you expected?
Well, I think we're seeing here in the second end what we anticipated would happen in the first end. In the first end, we saw Frank throw his rock, have his lead throw the rock into the house, and Kevin replied with a corner guard. I think now maybe it was just a little mind game there, and to see how Frank would react to that. But Frank responded by putting up the guard, and now Kevin has gone back to having the rocks in the house, hitting them out. But with Frank Morissette's team having rolled out, Kevin is now going to the corners to see if he can't generate some offense.
Couple feet.
Frank is neglecting those 2 corner guards that we have out there. As we heard Kevin say, it's a little difficult to come around those corners. And, of course, Frank wants his second man here, Gary Jensen, to make sure that this rock is, again, close to the rinks, because Kevin will have his team respond if it's not.
Shot.
An excellent shot by the second Gary Jensen, very close to the rings, forcing Kevin now to neglect those 2 corner guards and deal with that rock in the center. Of course, if he does not, Frank would immediately react by tapping his own stone back. Kevin is hoping to get a hit and a roll behind each one of those corners. Sweeping hard, the line must be there. Good movement on that stone. And a very nice shot. As I mentioned in the intro, Barry, it's really going to be interesting to see how Sean Broda with holes through the pressure. It looks like everything is fine, but again, once the game intensifies, it's going to be very interesting to see how these people react to the pressure of this game.
Frank Morissette in his 5th provincial title. He has not won a championship game, and I guess you have to get the monkey off the back for Frank Morissette first of all. That's got to be difficult for him playing in front of his home crowd, though. Do you think that's going to help him out a bit today?
He certainly has a lot of fans here, and I think Frank wants to play well for them. He also wants to win for his team. So I think all of the team is pumped. They have been playing very well right through the Southerns and right into this whole competition. I think the crowd is going to be a factor for Frank, and give him that little bit of adrenaline that he needs to pump himself up to make sure that he does play at the top of his game along with the rest of his team.
The Morissette third, Brian Brown with the hit and roll out. He loses his shooter, so still no rocks in the rings at this point. Just that yellow stone at the corner of the house, and also a red rock
pretty sticky
acting as a corner guard.
We're hearing them talk there, saying it was pretty sticky in practice. See if we can't pick up a time for you here soon, and we'll be timing from hog to hog, as we see here. Throwing right over onto the wings.
Hurry, line's great.
And of course, an interesting call by Kevin here, coming from the outside in behind this corner guard to see if he can't get around there. And of course, over here on the wings, we see that the time is running at about 13:1, which is an indication that over on the side, that rock would have been short of the rings. That it's still a little tough out there, but as has been the case all week, I think down the middle in the 4-foot area, we're looking at probably 13.5, 13.8 second ice from hog to hog.
Looks like a lot of ice, though.
One of the interesting concepts that's happening, Barry, now is the advantages that teams are trying to take regarding the whole timing process. I know that teams now are much more difficult, but teams are trying to narrow that down, and as a result, we're seeing them time from the back line to the first hog line. This, of course, has several advantages, but is difficult to do, and one of the advantages is that the sweepers can immediately pick this stone up. And, for example, if we are seeing that the ice is running about 13.8 seconds, a time that will show that will be about 3.8 seconds from touchdown to hog, and if they know, the sweepers know that that is what is happening with that stone to the 4-foot, and it's light, they can immediately get on it. Of course, if the time increases, then they stay off it to make sure that, so it does give the sweepers an advantage.
So they're using the stopwatch right in the middle of the shot, in other words.
That's right, and of course, what they're trying to do here is the outside sweeper is the one usually that times that so that the inside sweeper can get on the rock immediately, because it does take some finesse to learn to use that stopwatch and get that immediate quick time.
Don Walchuk was first among thirds all week, hurling 82%.
Is he going to get by that corner guard? Yes, he does. Very nice shot, and of course what he was looking for there was the hit and roll behind the corner, but well executed by Don Walchuk, the third for Kevin Martin. Frank immediately proceeds down to the other end. One of the things we're going to find is that these two teams, they play quickly.
Yep.
They know the job that they have to do. They put the broom down, and away they go.
Of course, they are using the clock, 73 minutes per team plus 2 one-minute timeouts. And basically the strategy, I guess, here, Ron, is a lot of teams like to play quickly early, especially to save some time when the game's really on the line in the late going.
Well, that's what happened last year. We did some extensive studies regarding timing. It used to be what, like the World Championships are, with 75 minutes. But I think we were finding that basically was too long, and they made some moves here. And now, as a result of it, players are playing quicker at the very beginning, and hopefully can save some of that time for when the finer shots and the complication gets going at the later end.
Morissette with the hit and the roll into the 8-foot circle. As we mentioned, all the teams played a round robin throughout the week. 8 teams, 3 from the south, 3 from the north, and 2 from the Peace Country. And it was a 6-1 standing for Kevin Martin. He led the way. Dwayne Dunkel was second at 6-1, and Frank Morissette was 5-2. Dennis Graber 4-3. They were the 4 top teams out of the 8, and therefore made it to the semifinals.
One of the interesting things about this competition was the fact that there were no tiebreakers. Out of 8 teams in a round robin that exists, usually you have to fight it out for third, fourth spot, or usually have people bunched up. But as it turned out in the last game, the right people beat the right people, and we did not need any tiebreakers. Excellent shot there by Kevin Martin, and saw the opportunity there to use his corner guard, and had an excellent hit and roll.
NACA, their mission to promote and develop curling.
So Frank Morissette now in the hack for his final stone here of 2, and Kevin Martin forcing Morissette into a tough shot here.
I think Frank can see all of this rock, and once again, with the rock not moving very much, I think you'll see that third Brian Brown will will give him about 4 to 6 inches of ice, and Frank will throw his regular 9 to 9.5, 10-second takeout weight. Tinkers released it well, although they're not sweeping. Very well executed here, and of course gets the job done by rolling into the center of the rings where he wanted to be, which gives Kevin a tougher shot to roll behind either one of those 2 corner guards that he so strategically placed up there at the beginning of the end.
Kevin Martin blanking one, and obviously looking to do the same here.
I think we can see him up his weight and throw the weight that he's so capable of. Just an excellent delivery for this type of weight. Not many curlers, lots of people can throw hard stones, but not with the accuracy that someone like a Kevin Martin can. Then he indicates that that's good, and he hits and rolls out.
So through 2, it is 2 blanks in this game. The Safeway Select Provincial Men's Curling Championship. Frank Morissette and Kevin Martin still scoreless. We'll be back with the third end right after this.
For every stage of life, we make choices in what we do. As we grow and change, our financial state should mature along with us. Brian Malley of the Financial Planning Group will help you reach your financial success based on your own individual needs. From your first-time RRSP contribution to tax planning to preserving your estate, Brian will analyze your financial situation and help develop a long-term plan that's just right for you. Because your financial success is his only business. The Financial Planning Group.
I don't do shocks and brakes and water pumps and those things. I'm a transmission specialist. If you need a service or repair of your automatic or your standard transfer case differential, see a specialist. See National Transmission.
We don't like to see bad boys like you in town.
Your prices are too low.
So what?
Nobody sells mattresses for less.
Nobody.
For the lowest prices in town, it's Mattress Bad Boys. Now open 2 locations, downtown Red Deer and Henday Mall in Ismail.
Them bad boys is up to no good.
You asked for it, and we've got it. Makin' 8 is on video for the 95 season. 5 new volumes of the best in pro rodeo coverage, including the 1995 CFR, are a must for your home library. The first 5 volumes from the 94 season are still available. With this special offer, you can purchase either of the 5-volume sets for only $79.95. Order either set and receive Volume 6, the best rides and wrecks from the CFR at a cut rate. You can also purchase any one of the 11 volumes separately for only $19.95. The 94 season, Volumes 1 through 5. The 95 season, Volumes 7 through 11. And Volume 6, the best rides and wrecks of the CFR. Nobody gets you closer than Makin' 8. Use your credit card and call 1-800-707-8361. Or send check or money order to RDTV at the address shown here. In Alberta, you can buy the home video series at select Lamley's Western Wear stores.
Moving fast, cruising slow. When you're on the road, there's just one place to go. Husky like a real good friend. People you count on time and again. No matter where the road may wind, we'll be there waiting down the line, giving you that peace of mind. Husky, here in Canada, Husky. Right up, back.
Welcome back to the Calgary Curling Club, and there is Frank Morissette meeting Kevin Martin here in the Safeway Select Provincial Men's Final. Morissette, as you can see, has been curling for a while. This is his 5th provincial championship, and he's actually been to 10 overall, 6 in the men's, 4 in the mixed. And you had a chance to talk to Frank Morissette. He was the only player to beat Kevin Martin earlier this week.
It was nice to win that game. It was a game that we needed to win, and we came out and we were focused for it, and we won the game. And but tomorrow's another day, and it's another curling game, so that game's history. So tomorrow's a totally different game. So hopefully we'll just have a real good game and we'll play well again.
I guess there's 2 ways to look at this, Ron. One, you've got the confidence you've beaten him. In curling, it's tough to beat a good rink twice in a row.
Well, Frank and his rink have played confidently all week. They started making shots very early in the week, and they maintained the momentum right through. The interesting comment that Frank makes there is the whole business of focusing. This team is tremendously focused on a mission, and that mission, of course, is to get through this competition and get to the Brier. So they're focused, and they will continue to do that and play well.
He blanked the first 2 ends of this game. Now in N3, the first 5 rocks have been delivered. We are up to the Martin second now, Sean Broda, but 4 rocks in play, all in front of the rings.
Marlon Rosachuk, the lead for Frank Morissette, placed a rock very close to the rings on the center line. Kevin then responded with a corner guard, and once again we'll see that corner guard over to the side, and it will be interesting to see as the end unfolds whether that corner guard will be used or not. As I had indicated, the tendency seems to be now for the more competitive curlers to use the corner guard more towards the center and more in the 4-foot area so that it's still out of the road and leaving the 4-foot open. But should the other team block up the front, as we have seen here, then you could still use that rock to chip it in or move it into the 4-foot. Right now, that rock is only available for something that will either hit and roll behind or miss by another team, and then Kevin will be able to utilize that. But it's going to be interesting. Maybe we'll just watch and see how much that corner guard is utilized.
Sean Broda going right through the port. That's an opportunity now for Frank Morissette.
I think we're seeing here down the center that this ice is very, very keen, running around the 14-second mark, and Frank has asked Gary to come around, and let's have a look and see how much this rock actually does bend.
59 now.
It has been the case all week. We're not just seeing the movement that we would like to see in those stones.
Has that also made the play closer to the center because there just hasn't been the bend in the rocks on the corner guards?
That's right, and I think the whole idea here is to bump stuff, move stuff around, and if it's not coming around, there's another reason why corner guard has to be more into the center, as we can get to play some of that bump tap back, which I think you're going to see more of here. Kevin has asked Sean to try and loosen up that center area by forcing him now maybe to use that corner guard that he has by forcing a tap back on his red and then still leaving some of the 4-foot open. Very nicely executed, but again, just hit not enough of that stone. Had to be hit probably another inch of it, another inch and a half. He would have forced that red stone into cover for that corner guard and satisfied what Kevin needed.
So now we'll move to the thirds, and Brian Brown, he was second among thirds this week at 77%, and you notice all the percentages very high on both of these teams. They have done the job all week long and certainly deserve to be here, and it's as tight as we thought it would be. 2 blanks in the first 2 ends, but it looks like we might see something here in the third.
See the concentration and the seriousness on Brian Brown's face, very intense, realizing what this game really means.
Easy, guys. Lots of room, Gary.
Frank has narrowed, and we see the time clock on there now.
Whoa.
They're waiting. They need the rock to bend. And we're looking at about 13.5 seconds, and they have to wait. Of course, they don't want to go too deep with this particular rock and leave it close so that Kevin couldn't get a hit and roll or actually come down to it, but he's going to go after it as expected. But you see there, that rock did not move any more than maybe a foot and a half. off of that 4-foot line.
Well, we've talked about the great percentages, and there is Brian Brown. He's certainly no stranger to the Provincials. He's been here a few times before, 77% this week.
All of the players seem to have settled in. We see the intensity on Kevin's face here. Of course, he'd like nothing better than to have Don Walchuk with this quiet, controlled weight hit and roll behind all of those stones at the top of the rings. And they're asking those sweepers to sweep, which is online.
Guys get the hit and roll.
Shot here.
Don Walchuk has been doing that all week.
There's an example of, again, where they have the ability to throw the high, hard weight, but when Kevin decides that they want to change and be a little more aggressive with that quiet, they can throw it as well. These rocks look pretty much...
QR77, Calgary's information radio.
Yeah.
So now one red stone belonging to Martin, counting right now, and I guess an opportunity for him to pick up his 2 points. He's really putting the pressure back on Morissette.
There's an interesting shot. Frank has asked his player to come down and hopefully throw takeout weight at this so that he can be shot rock, but it's going to be interesting to see where that red stone will end up of Kevin Martin's, whether it will get the roll in behind that corner guard.
And it lined up pretty well, and a good shot by Brian Brown.
And we see that red stone of Kevin Martin's biting, and having used the corner guard effectively here.
Is he setting up for the double here, Ron, by that ice Kevin Martin is giving Don Walchuk?
Big weight is expected here, Gay. And he'll be trying to clean out the top part of this house.
Yep. Oh.
That's very well executed by Don Walchuk.
Well, that was well thrown.
Don Walchuk led all thirds this week with an 82%. Of course, he has 4 provincial titles in his pocket, 85, 87, 88, and 89. And, of course, they were all with Pat Ryan and the Ryan Express.
Frank Morissette here is going to try to take advantage of that yellow stone that he has out front rather than come around the corner guard, or pardon me, the center guard of Kevin Martin's, which we've seen is very difficult to bury there. He is now going into that tap back routine that we talked about. He will try to throw weight here, probably to the back of the 4-foot, which will force that yellow stone onto the rings in behind the Kevin Martin red stone.
Room. Whoa, Gary, it's out. How much weight? Make sure
Very
it's there.
interesting watching the release of
lots
Frank
of room.
Morissette.
Hurry! Hurry! For weight. Come on! Come on! Come on!
Whoa.
Is he shot? He is shot rock.
Good sweeping there by his front end. Of course, he had to wait until the line was there, and then once they saw it, they asked them to sweep diligently to get that rock in there for a second shot.
You mentioned the deliveries, Ron. Certainly, Frank Morissette with maybe talking about 2 different eras of curling here. He comes out of the hack a lot more erect and a lot more on top, whereas Kevin Martin and his entire rink really do come out a lot lower.
Yes, Frank is a very upright thrower, as you can see Kevin Martin also basically using a toe slide, both very, very effective.
Raise that yellow stone out of there.
I think Kevin was hoping here that he could maybe hit that one just a little bit off center and get a little bit of a roll out of his out of his rock so that he could be counting two. Of course, that did not materialize, and now Frank has to deal with that situation that he has where one red rock is over on the side. The difficulty that he has here is forcing that stone to come in behind those center guards, which is not curling very much.
You don't like this yellow?
Yellow's wide open. It's wide open plus.
What kind of weight shot are you talking about?
It's wide open plus.
That's the other option that he has here is to come down with probably back ring weight and or throw board, as he has indicated, which means he wants the weight to go to the back board.
Of it,
and hopefully hit 3/4 of that rock and roll it into the 8-foot or possibly into the 4-foot behind those two Kevin Martin stones on the center line.
Down to skip stones here in the third end. Blank the first two ends. Kevin Martin does have the hammer, and he's looking to score his 2 points and take a lead in this Safeway Select Provincial Men's Final.
Kevin Martin earned the hammer and, of course, choice of rocks by his first place finish throughout the round robin, and for him is a big advantage.
Kevin Martin led all skips 86% this week.
Frank just may have thrown that one just a little bit outside on his particular release. Is it going to come enough? Yes, it does. But is it going to do the job?
Where did that go?
Huh? Great shot.
And despite the fact that he thought he threw enough weight, it still was not enough, did not hit enough of that stone to generate enough motion to remove the Kevin Martin stone, and as a result,
Bump split? Not bad.
they're still laying one
Two's
shot.
good, though. Huh? Two's good.
Yeah, two's good. Yeah, I got to hit the hose. Yeah.
Frank say he's got to hit the house. Of course, after he's done, he wants to be lying 2 points and capitalize on the last rock advantage that he has.
Get by the guards, eh? Sure, you need to try that raise. I could end up hitting half a rock getting that.
Of course, what he's saying here when he says that should be enough to get by the guards, he's talking about those center guards, which is an indication again that how susceptible the rocks are in terms of curling.
That raise, you know, if you hit half a rock, zero. Not worth it.
Obviously, he is neglecting the Frank Morissette Yellowstone over on the other side.
Final rock of the third for Martin.
Line's good. Line's good. Holding off. Looks like lots.
Looks like lots of weight.
Looks like lots.
He's going to be certainly by the two center guards, but has he got enough weight to stay in the rings?
Maybe.
Brian Brown gets on it as hard as he possibly can.
Good shot.
And he does hang around for two, so Kevin Martin hits the board first here in the Safeway Select Provincial Men's Final, scoring a deuce here in 3 and a 2-0 lead over Frank Morissette. Our coverage will continue right after this.
The Safeway Select Alberta Men's Curling Championships are brought to you by the fine makers of Safeway Select Cookies, Berry Chocolate Chip, and Berry Raisin Oatmeal. All the best choices from Safeway Select. Discover why everybody's going to Majestic RV World for the largest selection of recreational vehicles in Western Canada, featuring an unbeatable lineup of Class A and Class C motorhomes, including the wide-body diesel pusher, the Allegro Bus, bold exterior, specially designed wide-body interior, spacious, roomy, and affordable, plus Allegro Bus slide-outs offer the utmost in space and comfort, so you can rough it smoothly with Allegro. For the best selection, the best prices, you must see Majestic RV.
It's still 3 busy days. It had 2 partners, but now they're united as one. It's the AgriFuture Farm Technology Expo, formerly Farm Progress Days in the Conservation Workshop, running February 22nd to the 24th. Trade shows Thursday 10 to 6, Friday 10 to 7, and Saturday 10 to 5. Lots of different seminars to choose from. Try out one session, a whole day, or register for the entire weekend. The AgriFuture Farm Technology Expo, February 22nd to 24th. Call 1-800-251-6846.
Moving fast, cruising slow. slow. When you're on the road, there's just one place to go. Husky like a real good friend. People you count on time and again. No matter where the road may wind, we'll be there waiting down the line, giving you that peace of mind. Husky, here in Canada, it's Husky.
On an all-new Baywatch,
Oh my God, it's Hulk Hogan.
the WCW goes to the mat for a worthy cause.
What, you guys wrestling fans? Closet.
When an old foe rattles Hulk's cage,
I want you right here, right now.
setting the stage for a no-holds-barred bash on the beach.
Hulkamania rules.
Ric Flair and Randy the Macho Man Savage join Hulk Hogan next Baywatch. Tuesday night at 9 on RDTV.
Welcome back to the Calgary Curling Club and RDTV's coverage of the Safeway Select Provincial Men's Curling Championship. Barry DeLay along with Ron Myers in the booth, and so far through 3 ends, Kevin Martin with that deuce in the third with a 2-0 lead over Frank Morissette.
And now we see Kevin, of course, move into the defensive mode and try to set up the end to keep Frank Morissette's team to 1 point. And he did that by immediately having his lead, throw the rock to the top of the 4-foot. Frank responded with a corner guard, more into the center, and then, of course, Kevin had his other stone guard, the one on the 4-foot, close and into the rings, which we've just seen the Morissette team remove.
I guess we've talked a lot about strategy of these two teams. Ron, for Morissette, he's down 2 now. Is it always tempting to try to get that deuce back right away? Does he have to be patient here?
He has to be patient, but of course that's the whole motive behind the way he's playing the end. He wants to at least get his 2 points, and 1 is not good enough for him, but of course he'll take it if he's forced to do so. But he's working hard on trying to get those 2 points, and as a result we have seen Kevin now go back to his clean game. Kevin's strategy is always trying to keep it as clean and as simple as he possibly can, forcing the opposition to get 1 point every time they have the hammer, and it looks like that's the way they're playing. But Frank's going to try to be aggressive. He's got to now tap that stone up and use that red stone for backing and perhaps move it to the back of the ring so he can get his 2 or possibly 3 points.
Gary Jensen curling 88% through 3 ends of play.
Just play a draw. Split them.
Both teams after 3 ends very equal. Of course, the Martin team shooting 85% and the Morissette team 82. So
just rubbed on that front yellow stone.
Threw it tight.
I think what he would like to have seen, as he said, he threw it tight there. He may have been a little bit inside, but he would like to have seen that yellow rock promoted down onto the red. Not necessarily that it had to be shot, but it had to get it closer so that they could continue to use that red rock for backing. Kevin neglecting that yellow stone and Morissette's at the top of the rings and forcing a hit on the
Okay. All right.
The hit and roll out, so that 1 red Martin stone still counting in the 4-foot.
Kevin would have liked to have stayed on that stone to put a little more additional pressure on Frank, but Frank has got to contend with the yellow stone up at the front of the rings, which he wants to, again, try to promote so that he can get some backing out of that red stone that Kevin Martin put up there at the beginning of the end. Watching this one very carefully.
Yep, come on.
Once again, we're not seeing very much movement in those stones. Nice weight.
Good shot. Nice weight.
I think he's got it off.
Of course, Kevin here wouldn't mind looking for a hit, but would like to get that stone that he's hitting with over to the side of the rings, because if he hits it on the nose, of course, he will then create the pocket that the Morissette team would like to have and create further backing for him to try and establish the 2 points that he needs. Fast on Walchuk to throw normal weight here. Of course, the rock will run very straight.
No.
Has he got the roll?
Fine.
And he rolls out.
Here in curling, it's Husky, the Quality Products Company.
Move it through.
An opportunity here for Morissette. Ron, I guess it's a matter of taking advantage of your opportunities. That's what it comes down to at this caliber of curling.
Yeah, it's interesting here. Frank has asked Brian to move it through and throw hack weight. In other words, he's asking him to get it completely out of the rings, and the reason he's doing that is because if he just moves it back, he wants to be lying two at the end of this shot. If he just moves it back to continue to use it for backing, he's going to have to be too precise, and he won't be laying the two. So he's asked Brian to remove this stone right out of the ring.
Wait. How's the weight? Ball. Ball. Yep, hurt. Very hard. Quick.
Might be tight. It's hanging on to
Real
that
hard.
center line.
Quick. Quick.
The weight looks good.
Real hard. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Good sweep.
And he's asking for a hit and roll over the side. Very well executed.
It's the control weight you were talking about.
Yeah, by throwing that kind of weight, of course, it gives your sweepers the opportunity to work on those brushes, and the person who's calling the line the opportunity to give direction and communicate with those sweepers as to where they can more precisely place that stone. Kevin will be immediately looking for the double here, of course.
Hurry.
Asks the sweepers to get on it upon release. And the double is not there. He hits it on the nose, still leaving Frank Morissette lying one.
Boy, Don Walchuk just explodes out of that hack when he throws that takeout weight.
Well, as I've indicated, the interesting concept about these deliveries is how quickly you can transfer that weight from the hack foot into the sliding foot. And those people who throw big weight, if they can do that, that's excellent. And we see here both backenders being able to. People who can throw heavy weight but can't get it all together, of course, in an effort to try to put it together, we'll throw it wide, we'll throw it narrow, whatever. But these two players do not do that. The transfer of weight that they have is exceptional for the amount of weight, amount of leg drive that's generated out of that hack.
The Morissette third, Brian Brown.
Be close. Line's good. Got to curl it again.
Of course, he's neglecting that Kevin Martin stone up at the top of the rings.
Yeah.
It's too risky, of course, to do anything with.
Take a look.
And as a result, he's asking Brian to go over to the wings or to the side of the sheet and lie 2 points.
That didn't move at all.
Kevin will be immediately asking for
a double there?
Broom placement right at the center. And, of course, with the intention of throwing the weight that he likes to throw. And
might have to go too close
hope to hit and roll in behind that red stone.
Well, we'll play the roll. Just make sure we don't rack.
As you said, we have to make sure the rack here. One of the things before you start worrying about hit and rolls for the average curler is to make sure you hit the shot that you're looking at. And oftentimes we get thinking ahead of ourselves and fail to execute the shot that originally we're trying to play.
Hit first, roll later.
That's right.
Martin with the nose hit, and he is counting one wide open red stone.
And I think there Kevin indicated to us that he knew it was out of the way. It's right out of his hand. With a delivery like that, it's either got to be all together immediately or it's too late. There's nothing you can do with it. Whereas with the more controlled weight that some teams throw, if there is a little bit of discrepancy in terms of being outside or inside, the sweepers have some opportunity, or they can wait or get on the stone. So it depends upon the style of play of the teams.
Frank Morissette with a real good opportunity to get his 2 points back here. Kevin Martin scoring 2 in the third and leads 2-0 as we play the fourth.
Of course, if Frank can execute this hit and roll behind, it will make it difficult for Kevin to get the double.
Easy, 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 easy.
Nice weight, nice controlled weight, although it didn't look like he may have thrown that just a little bit outside. but he'll take the hit and roll to the other side and spread them out as much as they can and leave himself lying too.
Roll or the double? Yeah.
These rocks are set up in a position where Kevin, with the type of weight that he throws, if he skinnies this top rock, can move over to get the double.
Kevin Martin curling 100% after 3 ends. I guess it doesn't get much better than that.
Kevin and his team, of course, looking forward to going back to the Brier and trying to improve their standings from 1995.
No. King, nice. Am I throwing them back?
And as indicated, am I throwing them back? And with that type of weight and that type of delivery, if it's not executed as I've indicated right out of the hand, there's not much chance for anything else to happen. And Frank here will have an opportunity to try to tie this game up.
You go this way. No, left side. Okay.
Well, it's a big shot for Frank. As you mentioned, he doesn't want one. I guess it's when you have to hit and stick, it makes it a lot more difficult than you just have to make contact to score the 2 points. Is very crucial for him here.
Interesting call here by Frank, of course. Rather than come from the outside in to the 4-foot, he's elected to go from the keen side of the ice, and of course this gives his sweepers the opportunity to look immediately upon release as to how that rock is reacting and give them the opportunity to take the rock and place it where he wants it. Whereas if we come from the outside in, you initially start from sort of the frosty side, and it doesn't give the sweepers the opportunity to watch the stone as well as he is placing this stone.
Easy.
He looks hot.
Easy,
clean it. Close, clean it.
Looks hot.
Clean it.
Easy, guys.
Clean the stone.
Clean.
Easy.
Keep draw, Frank.
Well, hot, I guess, right to the 4-foot. It's not bad.
Frank Morissette getting his 2 points here in 4, and through 4 we are tied with the Safeway Select Provincial Men's Curling Championship. 2-2, Morissette and Martin, and we will be back with more coverage right after this.
The Safeway Select Alberta Men's Curling Championships are brought to you by the fine makers of Safeway Select products like Southwest Salsa. 3 great flavors, 1 original taste. All from Safeway Select.
Discover the 20th annual Red Deer RV Exposition and Sale. Step inside an RV and imagine traveling to any destination with all the conveniences of home. Don't miss this RV extravaganza. 4 days only. February 16th to 19th at Westerner Park. Red Deer's 7 top RV dealers. Woody's, Vellner's, Uncle Ben's, Four Seasons, Venture, Southside Plymouth Chrysler, and Capital RV will all be there. February 16th to 19th at Westerner Park.
Here's a day in the life of your Red Deer Regional Hospital Center.
We do have an excellent staff. What we need is state-of-the-art equipment to care for you and your family.
Our hospital must prepare for the future of healthcare in Central Alberta. The cost attached is $3.5 million. We need your help. Please give to the Red Deer Regional Hospital Center Foundation in caring for our tomorrow. There's no better time, no better cause.
The Sweepa Easy Iron Board cover can actually cut ironing time in half. It's unlike anything you've used before. Simply spray with water, then iron as usual. The high-tech foam surface reflects heat and steam back up into the garment, ironing both sides at once, just like a professional steam press, eliminating unsightly double creases. Buttons, zippers, and embroidery are no problem. They sink into the foam surface so you can iron just one side for perfect results. Ironing large surfaces has never been easier. Fabrics slide over the slip edge and cling to the unique foam surface so sheets and tablecloths won't slip. The Sweepa Easy Iron Board cover reflects heat this effectively, so you can actually leave your iron flat while ironing, and it can't slip or slide. The Sweepa Easy Iron Board cover is only $14.95. Order now, and we'll include the Sweepa lint brush as a free bonus. Use your credit card and call this toll-free number now, or send $14.95 plus shipping and handling to the address on your screen.
Welcome back to the Calgary Curling Club and the Safeway Select Provincial Men's Curling Championship. It is 2-2, Frank Morissette and Kevin Martin as we play the fifth end. And it has been a seesaw game back and forth. And how important is that, Ron, for Frank Morissette to answer back and stay right in this game?
It's vital at this particular time, particularly in the early parts of the game like this. 1 point wasn't enough for him. He played the end very, very well and got his 2 points, which we start the whole ball game all over again. So it was very important that he get his 2 points this early in the game to tie this. Or Kevin, with the hitting team that he has, would continue to try to keep everything clean and run to the later ends and maintain the hammer.
There's the lead, Don Bartlett, his second stone here at 5.
Saw a very interesting concept here at the initial part of this end, Barry, as for our viewers, as they are aware, the free guard zone means that no rocks can be hit in that area between the hog line and the house. And the lead for the Morissette team, Marlon Rosechuk, threw it very, very close to the rings, and the head official, both players asked head official John Hamm to come out and to measure to see if that rock was in the rings or not. And that is the only time during the game, other than at the end, that a measurement is allowed now with this new free guard zone. Of course, if the rock was in the rings, then Kevin could elect to hit it, but it was in the rings and he elected not to and come up with a corner guard instead. And we're back into the corner guard concept as to whether it will work or not. And of course now we see the opportunity that Kevin has it, though. We got a half miss here, and we'll see if how Kevin utilizes that corner guard.
Like an arrow? Well, you've heard the applause on many of the shots here. A lot of people behind Frank Morissette, of course, in this Safeway Select Championship game, playing in his home club here in the Provincials, the first time for him since '76. And I asked Kevin Martin how that would affect him playing in Frank Morissette's hometown club.
Last year when we played Lukowich, you know, in front of the hometown crowd, even the home club where we played last year, you know, it made it a lot easier. The crowd is behind you, you know, backing you up, yelling for you, and it really pumps you up and makes you shoot better. This time it's Frank's turn. He's in his own home stomping ground, so he'll play well. It's going to be very hard to beat him in his home ice.
We just saw Kevin ask Sean Broda, his second man, to come around that corner guard, and it was difficult to see whether Sean turned that rock in or not, but we did see some movement on that stone, and as a result racked, and it was a costly rack because he now has moved his stone into the center as a center guard, and Frank's going to take advantage of that immediately. And this is what this team has done well all week, just play around the wings and then wait for a break and then see if they can capitalize on it.
Asking second Gary Jensen to get around that center guard.
Would like to keep this rock in front of the tee line.
Great shot.
And that's a great shot.
He's fully buried, or at least 3/4 buried.
And that's good to see. We're seeing a little bit more movement now as the pebble is starting to perhaps flatten out. We will start to see some movement here in the fifth end, and hopefully then see some more aggressive play from these players.
Quiet. Quiet. Hurt.
Kevin has asked Sean Broda to throw controlled weight to come around that corner guard and see if he can't move that yellow stone of Frank Morissette's to the back of the rings.
Bumping it through.
Or bump it through as he indicates. He would like to do and does just that.
Nice shot by Sean Broda. Well, we heard a few seconds ago from Kevin Martin talking about home ice advantage, and we posed the same question to Frank Morissette playing on his home ice in his home club.
Well, it'll be nice. I'm sure we'll have the hometown's fans behind us, but it's the first time I've been in a provincial final in Calgary since 1976, so it's kind of nice to be at home. You can go home and relax rather than go back to a hotel and never know what to do with yourself. But at home, you can always relax.
Well, and Frank has played relaxed. I guess it'd be very easy to be uptight in a situation like this, but he's looked very strong.
Frank's a cool customer. He's been around. He's played in a lot of cash bill finals, and of course his experience at this competitive level is certainly showing. He's there to play. As both of these teams, you know, we're talking with Don Walchuk before the game. They both realize the importance of this game, but they also realize that life continues on, you know, and winning is certainly important for these for these people and for the game of curling, but somebody has to win, somebody has to lose, and the best thing to do is go out and do your best and play under the conditions that you need to play under, and may the best man and the best shot making come out on top.
Well, the way both teams are playing today, they're going to make the one who wins it earn it, certainly.
Interestingly enough, after 4 complete ends of play, both teams are shooting an average of 84%. So we're seeing in the score tied, the percentage is tied, and the question now becomes when and who will make the first move and capitalize on the first break that occurs.
Walchuk with the hit and roll, but he hit that a little thin, and he's wide open.
Kevin would have liked, as you heard, his sweepers to sweep it out as hard as they could to possibly get a hit and roll behind that center guard, but that did not materialize. Frank will now move, and he will look for the hit and roll. And it's this kind of thing that you look for, the big shot. And that's probably what's going to determine the outcome of this game.
Out's better than in?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Of course, he's asking for the out turn here so that he can hit across the face of that rock, and as a result, the spin of the stone will slow as it turns against the grain into a position behind that center guard. Throwing the in turn would cause the rock to roll with and possibly roll too far.
Wait. No. No, no. No. No, off, Gary, off.
Is it going to move enough to get that roll?
Starting to move a little bit now.
Well, it doesn't. Hits it on the nose, but executes very well again.
You're talking about the big shot. In a game like this, it almost comes down to who doesn't make the mistake, but who's almost going to win it as opposed to who's going to give it away.
That's right.
Board.
And there is an element of fortune in this game, just like there is in any other game. And, of course, you hope and pray that it's going to happen to your team. Again, the solid delivery of Don Walchuk as he attempts to remove this Frank Morissette stone from the rings and get a roll either way behind corner cover or cover in the center. And
it falls back on the other hill.
As we heard there's a possibility that it falls back, and not much you can do about that.
Looks like the race for the hit and roll in this end. Whoever can get behind that red center guard is going to have the advantage.
Of course, Kevin Martin here with those 2 stones out front is hoping that it happens to him so that with the brick he can have the final attempt to get his 2 points, and at the halfway point in this game, a lead of 2 points, the way they're playing, is a big lead at the 5th end.
And during the 5th end break, we will chat with both skips and get their comments on the first 5 ends of this championship game. 2-2 as we play 5. Kevin Martin does have the hammer in this 5th end.
Frank will go with the in turn this time. Throw controlled weight.
Not hard. Very hard.
Asks his sweeper to hurry.
Straight up, straight up.
Will he get the roll? Well, perhaps the other way, but will he stay? No, he doesn't. He rolls out, and now, of course, Kevin has the opportunity to utilize that center stone and will immediately be aggressive to see if he can't bury one behind there and force Frank to make a tough shot and see whether he can complete his quest of getting his 2 points.
Well, Kevin has thrown some big takeouts with his last few shots. Now he's got to change gears and throw the draw.
And he has exceptional capabilities of doing this. This is one of the things that makes him one of the top competitors in Alberta and across Canada, of course, is the ability to relate mentally to that leg drive and what he has to do and how he needs it in order to hit that 4 point. Let's see how he does.
Got room. Lots of weight.
Indicating there's lots of room.
Lot of room. Gonna curl. Lot of room. Lot of room. Lot of room. Lot of room.
He indicates that it's going to curl, but I don't think that rock is curling. It's maybe coming up hard at the end.
Yep. Hard. Come on, guys.
They wanted to drag that stone in behind the center one.
Well, curled 2 inches.
And he said it curled 2 inches. So he indicated it was going to curl. I guess maybe he thinks that that's a lot. I don't know. Once again, we see here, relating back to our comments, Barry, the excellent capabilities of these high-performance curlers. They can throw that up weight and control what they do with it, and then turn around and have to draw to the forefoot. It's there in their back pocket. The only thing that sometimes happens here is if the collar gets a little tight, and depending upon the seriousness of the shot, that has an effect. And we're finding that in our high-performance situations as well, that what we have to do to continue to make sure that our players are of high-performance caliber is the whole business of mental toughness. And that, I think, probably has been the most progression in the game, helping our curlers to find ways to prepare themselves mentally for big shots, to prepare themselves through visualization, imagery, and we spend a lot of time doing this for our high-performance athletes.
Of course, Ron is the national coach for the Canadian Curling Association right here in Calgary. Some of the fine young players going to his camps, but here's a fine player in his own right, Frank Morissette, final stone of 5.
Frank may have laid that stone out there a little bit, and once again, this ice is very unforgiving. Is it going to curl enough to get that stone out of there or not? The sounds, it is not. The rock looks like it was moving back, and as a result, Frank has himself a costly miss at this point in time. Kevin will now have the opportunity to free draw to the forefoot for his 2 points, and I don't want to use the word commanding, but certainly the way this team hits, Frank's got to be concerned about being down 2 points here at the halfway mark of this game.
No keener.
It's indicating that it's no keener here, which is running around the 14-second mark from hog to hog. Can Kevin Martin put this rock into the forefoot or into the rings to get his 2 points? He's indicated that he's caught something, so he's asked his players to hurry, and obviously that rock is coming across center and has picked up something. Now, are they going to get the bump? Or can they get it in there? Oh, yes, they can, and a very, very fortunate opportunity and break there for Kevin Martin, whose rock picked up something about a quarter of the way down the sheet, and the players were able to still take that stone and bump it into the rings for his 2 points.
So a big 2 for Kevin Martin and a 4-2 lead halfway through this one. We'll talk to both skips when we come back to the Calgary Curling Club.
The Safeway Select Alberta Men's Curling Championships are brought to you by premium quality Safeway Select products, featuring a variety of premium crackers and your choice of 3 different flavors, all available from Safeway Select.
Moving fast, cruising slow. When you're on the road, there's just one place to go. Husky, like a real good friend. People you count on time and again. No matter where the road may wind, we'll be there waiting down the line, giving you that peace of mind. Husky, here in Canada, Husky.
Discover why everybody's going to Majestic RV World for the largest selection of recreational vehicles in Western Canada, featuring an unbeatable lineup of Class A and Class C motorhomes. Experience the difference with Triple E motorhomes. 3 models to choose from: Empress, Commander, and Embassy. The best value on the market today. Climate, durability, and dependability have made Triple E a Canadian favorite for the best selection, for the best price. You must see Majestic RV. Share the vision. All-weather windows.
What would you do with a daughter you couldn't control?
She smokes, she drinks, she is a thief, she's a liar.
You're using drugs? Mm-hmm. You drinking? Mm-hmm.
Girls who don't even care about their own lives.
If you get AIDS, you don't care. If I die, I die.
These moms have tried everything.
I don't want to give up on her because she's my child and I love her.
So they turn to us for help.
I feel your frustration, too. We'll give you as much help as we can.
On Jenny Jones.
Monday at 2 on RDTV.
They're not your typical characters,
Bull feathers.
whatever their rank.
Ready for the army again?
They're generally refined personnel.
To the Rich brothers.
With a unique quality, all of their very own.
Don't think of me as a woman.
Don't stand in profile.
Smash, weeknights at 6:30 on RDTV TV Dinner.
There's a live shot of the Calgary Curling Club. We are midway through this men's championship game for the Safeway Select Provincial Championship. 4-2 Kevin Martin leading over Frank Morissette, and now joining us is Frank Morissette. Frank, can you hear us down there?
Yes, I can.
Frank, it's Barry DeLay and Ron Myers in the booth. I guess it was going your way, certainly. You had him 2-2, and I guess the shot that's certainly on your mind is the last one in the fifth. What happened there?
Well, not the last shot. He got a good break when he threw a little narrower, turned it, or maybe picked something up me, but he made a raise. But I threw my last shot. I could see half the rock, and I threw the weight I wanted. It just tracked straight down the ice, and it didn't curl at all. It curled the last maybe 2 feet, and only curled about an inch. So just a bad break that it didn't curl for us.
Frank, I know 2 points in the fifth end is not an insurmountable lead, but you know the team that you're playing, and 2 points at this point in time might be big due to this big hitting team that you're playing against. What strategy are you going to go after here from the fifth end on?
Well, we just try and get our deuce back as quick as we can, and then just play as well as we can, and maybe if we can get a break, just like Kevin just got a break there in his last shot, and hopefully that we'll just keep on playing as well as we can, and things will go our way.
All right, thanks very much, Frank Morissette. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you very much.
Labatt's, good things brewing.
And now joining us is Kevin Martin, who has a 4-2 lead through 5 ends. Can you hear us down there, Kevin?
You bet.
Barry DeLay and Ron Myers up in the booth, and up 4-2 through 5. And I'm sure the shot on your mind is the last one in the fifth, and you caught a bit of a break, and your guys really worked to get it in there. Tell us about that.
Well, actually, I thought I threw it all right. It just picked right away, like within 2-3 feet out of my hand. It was gone, and we got really lucky. But we'll take it.
Kevin, obviously now 2 points for you in the fifth end is a lead that you like to have because of the hitting team that you have. You know that Frank's going to be coming out and coming after you. What are you going to employ from here on and through the end of the game to prevent that from happening?
Well, I kind of think Frank will probably get his deuce back anyway. You know, he's got a draw type of team, and they'll come right after us. But we've got to come back with the deuce once they get it. You know, we have to assume they're going to make 8 for 8 next end and get the deuce. So, you know, we've just got to keep our head together and try to get the points when we get last rock.
All right, Kevin Martin, thanks very much. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, it is 4-2. Kevin Martin leading Frank Morissette through 5 ends of play here at the Safeway Select Men's Provincial Curling Championship. And we will be back with end number 6 right after this.
Moving fast, cruising slow. When you're on the road, there's just one place to go. Husky like a real good friend. People you count on time and again. No matter where the road may wind, we'll be there waiting down the line, giving you that peace of mind. Husky, here in Canada, Husky.
Some shops say they specialize in a lot of things. National Transmission, the care and maintenance of your transmission.
At National Transmission, we know our specialty, guaranteed. Oh, and we fix it right the first time.
So you're getting married. You'll need a dress, shoes, church baskets, and an archway, chocolates, a cake, jewelry, bridesmaid dresses, centerpieces, decorations, a veil, photo album, reception decorations, a guest book, a bouquet, and a fiancé. But that part's up to you. J Chocolate Wedding Chimes has everything you need to make your wedding memorable. Look for the bride on Gates Avenue northbound, Red Deer.
your old beater. And this is your payment. Your new Pioneer Chrysler Jeep car, your new Pioneer payment. Compare. Old car, old payment. New car, new payment. Any similarities? This is Pioneer Chrysler Jeep Wetaskiwin. They'll take the old car off your hands and give you a new one at the same payment. No money down, no payment till spring. Hey, can we see that no money down, no payments again? There, you see? Perhaps you'd like to compare repair bills also.
Pioneer Chrysler Jeep, where cars cost less in Wetaskiwin.
And this is our service manager, just in case you decide you like the old beater.
Being a full-line recreation vehicle dealer, we offer everything. A lot of your pre-owned RVs have very low mileage, and they're just excellent purchases. I'm sure if you own a recreation vehicle or are thinking of buying one, you should make a visit to Woody's RV World. We are Alberta's RV Superstore.
Welcome back to the Calgary Curling Club, the Provincial Men's Championship. Morissette trailing Martin 4-2 through 5, and Ron Myers, this is where they want to get to. The Labatt Brier and all of the representatives have been decided from throughout Canada, except for Alberta. We'll know that today. Out of the Northwest Territories, Richard Robinson, Barry McPhee out of BC, Sean Adams, there we see out of Nova Scotia, Mike Kennedy, Don Westfall. A lot of names, maybe if you're really into curling, you know these names, but to a lot of us, those are unfamiliar names, and you got to think Frank Morissette and Kevin Martin feel if they get there, their chances are pretty good.
Well, definitely. I know that that's exactly what they're thinking, and of course, the big names that are not there are also saying one other thing. Now, how do I just missed another opportunity to possibly qualify for the Olympic trials, which will be happening in '97 in November. So besides winning the Canadian Championship, there's one more thing on the line here, and that's the right to represent yourself at the playdown, the 10-team playdowns, which will be held in Brandon in November of 1997. And I'm sure the big names are saying, whoops, there's one more spot gone. We have 3 of them gone now, and it'd be interesting for these teams to go there. Of course, McPhee out of British Columbia, coming from Kamloops, will be a hometown favorite, so it'll be interesting, and I'm sure Frank or Kevin would love to get there to put their name on that tankard.
Looking good. And the Brier in Kamloops begins on March 2nd through the 10th. And as always, it's a tremendous curling show here in Canada. We're starting in number 6 here. It is 4-2 for Kevin Martin over Frank Morissette. And I guess we talked a lot about mental preparation and focus. This is going to test Frank Morissette after that 5th end. Obviously, his miss on the takeout, and then Kevin Martin even getting a break after that. 2 bad things happening to Morissette. So see what he's made of, I guess, right
guys,
now.
let her move. Yes, this is where they say the tire hits the pavement, and we'll see what the Morissette team is made up of, and I'm sure that you're going to see them pull their socks up and see where they can come. Now, this is an unfortunate break again, and I guess we can talk about 3 in a row here now, so let's see if Frank can pull that one up and get back into this game emotionally here.
Well, bad luck comes in 3s. That's 3. Hopefully it's over for Morissette. The Martin lead, Don Bartlett. He is curling at 95% through 5 ends.
An interesting call here. This is where I think I was referring to Kevin saying it's not an insurmountable lead, but boy, you give him 2 points in the 5th end and he'll do exactly that. Have him throw, have his lead throw that rock through rather than put it up front and guard that to prevent Frank from getting 1 more stone up front. He wants to keep this clean now and will make every effort to do that.
Marlon Rosachuk, the Morissette lead.
Of course, Frank again will attempt to go up to the front of the rings.
Halfway.
See how far over he asks Rosachuk to take this center guard.
That's good. That's good. Nice weight.
Put a little pressure on him. And Kevin will immediately go up and ask his player to remove that stone, and again working towards keeping everything as clean as he possibly can here in the 6th end with a 2-point lead.
Sean Broda is the Martin second.
Clean. Up. Clean. Clean.
Sean has joined his team this year and is fitting in very, very nicely.
Let's talk about that for a bit. As you see Sean Broda, not a whole lot of experience with the provincial men's, but also has that juniors and mixed experience. Being to these provincial championships, that experience has to help these curlers.
Certainly, anytime you can play in a high-caliber event where the tension and the pressure and the adrenaline gets flowing helps you better experience what you need to do in terms of making sure that you can cope with all of those things and still make the shot that's required of you in the game. And all of these players are of that caliber, and will use every opportunity in every competitive situation to learn and learn from their mistakes and see if they can't get better throughout the whole competition.
Martin won this the 95 championship over Ed Lukowicz last year in Edmonton. Kevin Park and James Paul were on his rink this year. Of course, he had Randy Furby, who ended up leaving the team in January, and now he has Broda and Walchuk. So, and there we have a big miss.
Once again, you know, it may be too early to tell, but as we indicated here, Sean Broda is experiencing a little bit of a difficulty here, shooting 65% at this particular time of the game, and going back, maybe some of the pressure, you know, that he is experiencing is catching up to him, but I'm sure you're going to see him pull up his socks, and he realizes the intensity of this game, and look forward to him coming back with some good shots.
Gary Jensen, the Morissette second.
How's your weight?
Awful tight. Nice smooth delivery by Gary Jensen, a left-hander.
It's clean, keep it clean.
Which puts a different perspective on how the rocks may curl or how they turn, but looks like Gary has himself an excellent shot here, trying to move that Martin stone to the back of the forefoot, not out of the ring, so that he can use it for backing. He's got to generate as much offense as the Morissette rink has to generate as much offense as he possibly can, and he's going to be looking for stones in play, but Kevin is going to remove that stone immediately.
And Gary with some provincial experience of his own, and he is curling at 80% through 5 ends of play, so as we've mentioned, both of these teams really know how to play. All week you see he was at 81%, so, and he was the first among seconds throughout the week, through the 7 round-robin games and the semifinal.
Kevin, of course, would like nothing better than to have the third man, Don Walchuk, remove all of these stones.
Hurt. Oh.
And Don does just that. Cleans the house, and now Frank will utilize that corner guard that he has up there, hopefully, or perhaps he may even go to the other corner. We'll see what he does.
Don Walchuk just continues to do that. That's so important for a skip, Ron, to have your third set you up for your shots, and Don Walchuk time and time again makes the big shot.
Well, I think the big thing here is the confidence in the person that's holding the broom, with the confidence that the person that's throwing is going to execute. And time and time again, we've seen in this competition, this Alberta Championship, that Don Walchuk has, you know, arisen to the occasion and provided more doubles and triples for Kevin Martin than
Clean it. Yep, very hard.
you can shake a stick at.
Very hard. How's the weight? Hurt. Room. Hurt. Hurry.
Frank is asking his players to sleep as hard as again. Well, now there's room, but I guess they're concerned about the weight. Will that weight get there? Of course, they had to wait for it because it did have a lot of room, and what they were hoping for is to have that rock completely buried behind that corner. But Kevin says, no, sir, I can see a bit of it, and I'm going to go after it immediately, and that's what he's going to ask third man Don Walchuk to do. Will he play quiet weight here, Barry, or will we see the traditional high hard one?
Gee, I wonder. I think that's the only way they know how to throw it, is hack the board. Or I know they can throw it both ways, but they prefer to throw it pretty big.
Well, he talked hack the board here, which is an indication that, you know, maybe he's going to finesse this one around that.
A little more controlled, I guess, with the guard there.
Yes, this certainly isn't by any means the high hard one. More controlled. Of course, he needs that control weight to get the curl that he so desperately needs to remove this stone.
No, that's it. Very nice.
Gets the corner and the roll.
Various types of weights. You understand the communication that goes on here. When we talk about board, it's very vital that that communication exists so that the player in the hack knows what board weight means. And if that's the case, then the skip can call the line, can call better sweeping if the weight is executed. Obviously, in a lot of situations, teams that don't curl together very much, board weight could almost mean anything.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
As a result, makes it more difficult to complete the shot that you're looking for.
Just gotta get. I wish I couldn't see the line. I would have got you guys off there a little sooner.
And of course, that communication process happens through playing together and practicing. And this sport, just like any other one, requires diligent practice. Often the practice seems to be boring, but it pays off in the long run.
That's by itself, I think. It's by itself.
Clean it, Gary. Wall, ton of room.
By itself, by itself.
Frank has neglected that.
off.
Martin Stone at
Come on,
about
then,
the 3 o'clock position on the forefoot, and he wants to get under some cover, and therefore asks his players to just leave that stone alone and hoping for some curl at the end, which we're not going to see happen.
Same as you threw.
Frank has the brick here, or the hammer as we call it, with last stone, and it looks like he's going to be forced to use it effectively in order to get his 1 point.
I guess that was the gamble he was taking there, to get behind the guard, and now that he isn't, now he's just got to scramble to get one here, as long as Kevin Martin makes his shots, of course.
And at this level, again, that's the part of the confidence that you have to have. You know, you have to take the opportunity. He's got to be aggressive. He knows he's down 2 points, and he's got to be aggressive here and says that, well, with the last rock I'll have to draw to the forefoot if I need to do so, but let's take a chance and gamble and see if we can't generate some other offense.
What? Hit on the roll, but he sets up the double possibility there, certainly.
That's going to be interesting to see what Frank does with this. Of course, what he may do is look for the double and attempt to try to get out of the end with the blank and maintain the hammer going into the other end. And that, because of the way these rocks are positioned, looks like what he's going to do. He may attempt to do something here, you know, to look back to moving these rocks back and setting up a pocket, but it's still only the 6th end, and he's saying, hey, let's, we couldn't gamble last time and we didn't get the break we needed to come around that corner guard. Let's see if we can't clean it up here and get back at him next end.
Frank Morissette curling at 73% through 5 ends, as compared to 95% for Kevin Martin.
Yep, 3.
Calls on that immediately.
Real hard.
Indication that he may be tight.
Right up.
Attempting to hit and take the double.
And will he spill them both? He does. And he gets a bit of an inside roll as well, counting 1 on the forefoot.
Very nice shot by Frank. Good sweeping by his front end to keep that rock on line so that the double could be made. What he wouldn't have liked, of course, was that rock to roll over in behind that corner guard, but he made the shot that he was looking for, and now we'll proceed to his tactic of seeing if he can't blank this end and get his 2 points in the 7th. Very nice delivery by Kevin Martin. Asking his people to stay off it. Does he get the roll? Oh, he wants to go the other way, and of course now Frank will have the opportunity to see if he can't, as we indicated, blank this end and try to get some offense generated in the 7th, as he wants to close that gap of the 2 points that Kevin Martin has.
This is where the patience has to come in, I guess, Ronnie. Down by 2, but certainly not over with. As Kevin talked about in the break, he expects Frank Morissette to probably get his 2 points back, so he's not taking anything for granted, certainly.
There's a lot of curling left, and the noose starts to tighten here, because now if Frank can get that hammer in the next end, we get closer to the final and his efforts and needs to get the 2 points or the 3.
Right up.
The hit and the rollout and a blank here in 6 for Frank Morissette. So it remains Kevin Martin 4 and Frank Morissette 2 through 6 ends of play here at the Safeway Select Provincial Men's Championship. There's a shot at Dwayne Dunkel from Castor, a semifinalist yesterday, and we'll have more coverage right after this.
The Safeway Select Alberta Men's Curling Championships are brought to you by Premium quality Safeway Select products featuring enlightened soups and 4 distinct flavors. Safeway Select, your premium choice.
Some people will go to extremes rather than have their windshields fixed. And frankly, we can't understand why. Because at Crystal Glass, we make it easy. From full replacements to simple repairs, you're in and you're out, hassle-free, guaranteed. We stand behind our service. For windshield replacement and repairs, your choice is clear. Crystal Glass, auto glass specialists for over 40 years. Look for the location nearest you.
Okay, once and for all, who has the best long-distance savings, my local phone company or Sprint Canada?
Once and for all, the truth.
Introducing the Most Savings Plan. The best monthly savings compared to your local phone company's plan, wherever and whenever you call. Guaranteed.
And nothing but the truth.
Now we save more calling in Canada.
That's what's new about the Most Savings Plan. Now you save 50% on every call to 2 numbers in Canada and 1 in the U.S., plus 15% on all your other calls. It's automatic. Wherever you spend the most, you'll save the most.
Do I still get the most for the least when I call India?
Yes, if you spend more overseas, you save 50% on every call to the 3 numbers you spend the most on each month. 1 number in Canada, 1 in the U.S., and 1 overseas. Plus, you'll save 15% on all your other long-distance calls.
Sprint Canada is really reliable, too.
That's right. Our fiber optic network gives you reliable, crystal clear sound.
Tell me the truth about service.
Just like our savings, second to none.
That's right. We're here to help. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Just call.
Great lines, great service, better savings.
Unlike your local phone company, Sprint Canada doesn't just promise the best monthly savings. We guarantee it.
Guaranteed, folks.
And that's the truth.
Get the most for the least. Call Sprint Canada.
For details about the Most Savings Plan, call Sprint Canada now at 1-800-357-MOST.
And there is Dwayne Dunkel. He lost to Frank Morissette in the semis yesterday, but Ron, what a week his rink had. 6-1, tied, ended up finishing second in the round robin, only losing to Kevin Martin, but at 25, a great young rink of the future.
They showed poise throughout the whole competition. It was unbelievable the way they got themselves into pressure situations, and then the way they kept their poise and focused and got out of those situations and played extremely tough. And I'm sure that when they were all completed, although they would like to have been in this final, they had to be very, very pleased with the way they played all week. I know I spent some time with their coach, Ron Mills, talked to him, and he was most impressed with the progression of this young team. And Barry, I'll tell you, they'll be back, and they'll be in one of these finals here soon, I'm sure.
Well,
here's a situation in the 7th end where we saw Kevin Martin have his lead throw the rock to the top of the house, and I like where Frank placed that corner guard. And this is what I'm talking about here. That corner guard is placed in a situation where it can still be promoted to into the rings or promoted into the back if he so needs it. Also, the other thing here, we see him, he's lying second shot. If he can get that after the jam by Martin, if he can get this rock, he doesn't have as far to roll now to get behind cover on that one. And that's what I'm talking about placing those corner guards more into that 4-foot area.
real hard, real hard. Okay.
I don't think the roll is going to be there.
He'll have the nose hit, but he is counting 2 yellow stones and that red stone just biting at the back of the 12. Morissette trailing 4-2 as we play the 7th.
Try the double.
Kevin Martin seems to say that a lot, doesn't he? Let's try the double.
Does that surprise us?
Well, they have a lot of success with the doubles, and going to try another one here. Sean Broda, the second.
As we indicated, Sean was having a little difficulty curling 65% to this point, but here we saw a beautifully thrown stone, and as I indicated, he realizes the importance of this game, and he's going to be back.
Well, he removed his own stone, but still that's big because it takes away the cover of that yellow stone.
I don't mind the tap.
Here we see Frank Morissette asking Gary to come with the tap here. He's not really sure of the ice at this point in time, whether it will break or whether it will curl at the end or whatever. So he's just asking him to execute a tap back here. Is Gary going to do it?
T9 plus.
Indicated that possibly he may have been a little wide, but perhaps he can chip them both in and be line 3. Perhaps just a little hot there, I think, rather than more so than where he threw the stone. I think he threw it well, but maybe just a little hotter than what he wanted it to be. Still leaves that rock in good position, though. And if Kevin hits and rolls out here, or Don Walchuk hits and rolls out here, I think you'll see Frank go back to that corner guard and maybe try to promote it through into the rings again with a tap back. Once again, that will all depend upon where the red stone ends up here in this effort to have Don Walchuk reduce and eliminate some of those yellow stones in the rings that belong to Frank Morissette.
Walchuk throwing the control weight this time.
Oh,
not quite the double. Just rolled across the face of that yellow stone in the 12-foot. And he does roll out, and as you mentioned, another opportunity for Morissette. He's had a couple of them this end.
T-line. And now I think with the rock over further, I think he's a little bit more certain about the way that this rock is going to curl, so he's not going to ask for the tap back. He's going to go for the curl this time, and there may be a little bit of a run in there, that ice, which he now can get out of. Notice the intensity on Brian Brown's face. The concentration is certainly there because this is a big shot. Frank has to try to get this rock into the house so that he can get the 2 points here in the 7th end and tie this game up with Kevin Martin.
Hurry, hard, hurry.
Asking his players to sweep.
Come on.
And although it's not going to bury, and here again we see that rock is definitely staying out there, but we have a good stone that's very well thrown.
QR77, Calgary's information radio.
Kevin Martin looking at the possibility here of a cross-the-house double. And as you can see, he's eyeing up the path as to where that rock needs to move, and you can be sure he's going to be calling immediately if that rock is online. Don Walchuk here throwing controlled weight, certainly less than he has been throwing.
Two in a row for Walchuk. He missed on the front of it and then the back of it, so he surrounded it but didn't make the double, and another break for Morissette.
That's a tough shot, and we see how close Donnie has been at just about making those 2 doubles, but tough shot in curling, especially when you have to go all the way across the house, but once again, not a mile away, and a very gallant effort, and it's those kind of things that Frank needs to happen, and the breaks that Frank needs now to get back his 2 points in order to catch up from the deficit that he has gained here.
Come here.
He's not even trying to go behind this guard now, and possibly it's over too far to try to tap it. I think his main concern now is to just get the rock in the house. One of the things he has to be very careful here, though, is where he sets that stone. You'll notice if he sets it out there, and of course, depending on whether Kevin decides to go for the hit and roll, he may just, or pardon me, the hit and double across the house, he may go for the hit and roll. And if he does that and gets the hit and roll, Frank's second rock will not be in play.
All 3 of them really working at this one to bring it into the ring.
Is it going to get by? Yes, it does. And there we can see that rock almost straightening up at the end there. We're not getting the kind of curl that we want. I don't think Kevin can get the hit and roll here with the way we're seeing the ice move there. He'll be fortunate because of that other corner guard there. He'll just be fortunate if he hits it on the nose and stays for a second shot and possibly gets a roll into the, or biting the 8-foot.
I guess the weight is very sensitive in this area of the ice, Ron. He's got to be right on.
Doesn't seem to affect the rate that he's throwing, though. Let's see, does he hit this on the nose or get the double?
No, not quite. Oh, man. Nice.
Well, that's 3 shots they've had at it, and, oh, man, you heard him. They're not happy unless they get those. They want those doubles to materialize. Close is not good. It's only good in horseshoes.
Well, the Martin Rink certainly always striving for the best, and that's probably one of the reasons why they have had success. They won't settle for anything but execution.
One of the qualities of a high-performing team, and we're seeing 2 teams out there that have these qualities, and they're going to claw and scratch right until the bitter end here because they know what's at stake. The winner here goes to the Canadian Brier in Kamloops on March the 2nd, and I know all 8 of them would like to go, but unfortunately only 4 of them will. Frank nestle this rock somewhere into the center of the rings. Force Kevin to hit again. They're working hard on it. Is this rock in the rings? Yes, it makes enough weight.
Easy now. Come on.
Well, they're going to be careful where they put this now, not to set up the double.
Good shot.
And they try to take it across, and it will be difficult, I think, by the angle that we see here, Barry, to make this double. But who knows?
I guess an option for Kevin Martin, if he wanted, that rock is behind the tee line to freeze to it, but is that just too dangerous at this point?
Oh, definitely. He's not being the defensive and hitting team that Kevin is, he wouldn't even think about that shot. He's said to us even in the 5th break, hey, guess what? Frank's going to get his too. We can handle that, and then we'll go on to the offensive, and we're getting down to the last 3 ends of the game, and we'll go from there. So it looks like he's prepared to even let Frank take us to it. He knows that he'll still have control because he'll have the hand. Ooh, is this rock laying out there?
Just going to get a piece of this one. Will he stick around?
And, of course, Frank will have the whole house to draw for his 2 points.
Sloppy.
Kevin talking about sloppiness there. I think the last 3 deliveries, we've seen that Kevin hasn't really been happy with the way that, his timing is in terms of releasing. And timing is very, very important for the type of delivery that Kevin has and the weight that he imparts with leg drive. The timing has to be there, and perhaps for some reason or other, and we're only human, it is just off just a tiny bit. He's not getting out of the stone what he wants.
So it's a draw to really half of the 12-foot for Frank Morissette to tie this game up at 4-4, and certainly he's made this 1,000 times in his career, but at this point it's a little more difficult. The circumstances make this always a tough shot.
One of the things you can never do in a shot like this is take it for granted. I mean, this is the time when you even have to concentrate more. This is a very, very big point for Frank Morissette. And in that hack, he knows that he had to focus. And you can't take this for granted at all, and I don't think he has. And
this looks like a good shot.
Watching it carefully, and I think Frank is going to get the shot that he was looking for.
Sails into the 4-foot and a piece of the button, so 2 points for Frank Morissette. And through 7 at the Safeway Select Men's Provincial Championship, we are tied at 4-4. Back with the exciting 8th right after this.
The Safeway Select Alberta Men's Curling Championships are brought to you by the fine makers of Safeway Select Cookies, Berry Chocolate Chip, and Berry Raisin Oatmeal. All the best choices from Safeway Select.
Moving fast, cruising slow. When you're on the road, there's just one place to go. Husky, like a real good friend. People you count on time and again. No matter where the road may wind, we'll be there waiting down the line, giving you that peace of mind. Husky. Here in Canada, Husky.
It's still 3 busy days. It had 2 partners, but now they're united as one. It's the AgriFuture Farm Technology Expo, formerly Farm Progress Days in the Conservation Workshop, running February 22nd to the 24th. Trade shows Thursday 10 to 6, Friday 10 to 7, and Saturday 10 to 5. Lots of different seminars to choose from. Try out one session, a whole day, or register for the entire weekend. The AgriFuture Farm Technology Expo, February 22nd to 24th. Call 1-800-251-6846.
Discover the 20th annual Red Deer RV Exposition and Sale. Step inside an RV and imagine traveling to any destination with all the conveniences of home. Don't miss this RV extravaganza. 4 days only. February 16th to 19th at Westerner Park. Red Deer's 7 top RV dealers. Woody's, Vellner's, Uncle Ben's, Four Seasons, Venture, Southside Plymouth Chrysler, and Capital RV will all be there. February 16th to 19th at Westerner Park.
Sammy's back in the sports spotlight, and the whole Cheers gang wants to share it.
I'm standing here at a popular Boston watering hole called Cheers.
What's wrong with his voice?
Uh-oh, this flash just in. Well, looks like Sam's old news.
I'll catch you later, huh?
Maybe it's time for this old sport to try a new game, huh?
I tell you, go for it!
Welcome to the Kiss and Flip competition. Next time on Cheers.
Monday at 6 on RDTV.
Oh, yeah,
We're back at the Calgary Curling Club and the championship game, the Safeway Select Men's Championship, 4-4 through 7. And let's go back to that 7th end, Ron. And really a key shot here for Kevin Martin's rink. 3 times they tried the double, and Don Walchuk came very close both times, missed on the face and then behind. And then Kevin Martin, with his first shot, had a real long double, a tough one, but he just missed it as well.
Well, it's going to be very interesting now to see how the momentum may change in this particular game. At the 5th end, we saw the Morissette rink go through 3 very bad breaks. This last replay that we just saw, Kevin Martin is not happy with the way he has released the last 3 stones, yet we've seen Morissette's team bounce back and get 2 points. So is the momentum going to change? We see Kevin not really happy with what he's doing. Frank is satisfied that he's got his 2 points. So let's watch carefully here and see if there's been an effect of those 2 things in this curling game, or will be an effect in this curling game.
Nice hit and roll there for Morissette, and he is counting 1 half covered with that center guard.
Well, no sooner said than done. And of course, this is when these people perform. You know, the momentum changes just a little bit, and it's surprising to see how they will come through and make the big shot. So it's going to be interesting to see where we go there.
Sean Broda, the second for Kevin Martin, curling just 61% through 7. He has missed some shots today.
Wow. Kevin, of course, not taking any chances to going after that back stone. He wants to keep the front of those front of the rings clean. We saw Rosa Chuck, the lead for Frank Morissette, plays a very important stone at the beginning, just several inches in front of that rings, and that has set up the end somewhat for Frank here in an attempt for him to steal a point as they move into a very crucial even end, the 8th end. This is the end where a lot of teams, as they play, have played this over and over in their minds. Where do we want to be in that 8th, 9th, 10th end? They have the option here of playing strategically so they can have the hammer or not have the hammer in the 9th end. Do they want to be 1 down coming home? Do they want to be 1 up with hammer? So the games are here, and it's the teams that have practiced, and it's the teams that have set out their goal plans for the year are the ones that are going to survive this.
The Morissette second, Gary Jensen, placing that guard right in line. That is fully buried.
Oftentimes we will see teams who have not experienced the planning about how they want to play the last 3 ends strategically, having to take a lot of time and sit and discuss, and should we do this, shouldn't we do that? And you'll notice both of these teams, they've got their game plan in hand, and they know what they want to do, and they're going to go and do it. And Frank is going to, again, try to steal a point here in the 8th end as he asks Brian Brown to come up with a tight guard. One of the things Brian can't do here, of course, and he's got to be thinking about, is he can't be light. And if he is light with that stone being behind the tee line like it is, I think then we'll see Kevin move away from a defensive mode to being very aggressive in an attempt to try and get 2 points in the 8th end, which would be big points for him at this time.
Easy clean. I've got a curl. Got a curl.
They want to make sure that this stone is close to the rings or possibly even into the 12-foot.
Come on. Hurry.
They can't leave it short.
Come on, hard. Real hard.
And Morissette asking and fully aware of that and is asking his boys to bring that in as far as they possibly can.
Sweeping, guys.
Good line. Good sweeping.
In.
Well, we've seen Don Walchuk pull off a couple of these straight back doubles, and that looks like the plan again.
Now, why this was such a crucial shot, and I like where it is. There's still space between those two stones. If he gets it in any further, of course, it makes the double easier for Walchuk. But again, he had to be very careful because he leaves it out there, and Kevin Martin would take advantage of that and come behind that back, or come to that back stone as well. So let's see what Walchuk does here.
There's where the big weight pays off.
Very well done. And again, it's one of those you do, you don't. For the Morissette team, did they place it too close together? Did they place it not far enough? Again, how do you defend against a team that shoots doubles and throws weight like that Martin team does?
Sometimes you just tip your hat to the other team and say, good shot.
And Frank, again, looking to steal here in the 8th end, immediately asks third Brian Brown to come behind that stone. Being short is not a bad shot here. He can't afford to be behind the tee.
You got a lot of room. A lot of room, guys. Keep it clean. A lot of room if you can. Roll off. Off.
That rock is sitting out there. Will it finish at the end like they're hoping it does? He's asking for it to make sure that they're in. Have to be careful with that, though. As far as you get in, Kevin could well hit and roll behind the stone. And perhaps, if that wasn't going to bury, it may not have been a bad rock to try to leave out in front of the rings.
Here in curling, it's Husky, the quality products company.
When I
if you're just joining us, it is 4-4 as we play the 8th here at the Safeway Select Provincial Men's Curling Championship at the Calgary Curling Club. Barry DeLay along with Ron Myers here on RDTV. Happy to bring you this curling action. Big hello to all our viewers across the province today.
Wow. And if you have been with us, I'm sure that you're as pleased as we are with the caliber of this game. It's just been an excellent game to watch as both of these teams make an effort to try to win the Alberta Men's Championship and proceed on to Kamloops. Of course, one of the things, Barry, that will be happening at Kamloops and so on is a contingent of Calgary organizers, as maybe our viewers are aware or aren't aware, will be holding the 1997 Brier here in Calgary, and that is going to be a fantastic show.
And it's going to be at the Canadian Airlines Saddledome March 8th to 16th. For ticket information, 543-1997. 543-1997, and I know a lot of people are really excited about having the Brier back in Alberta. Of course, it was in Red Deer in '94, a very successful one there as well.
Talking to Chairman Jerry Rasmussen, he's indicated that they're well up into the 4,000 sales ticket already. The bottom bowl is filling up, so we would encourage people to get out and get their tickets. As we know, the Canadian Saddledome has got a lot of fine seats, but get the one you want. Get out there quickly. It'll be a great show. Can Frank get the hit and roll behind this red stone?
No, right there.
He says it's not going anywhere. And as a result, he will hit the stone, Martin Stone,
I can throw it the same as
and
you.
remain at the 12-foot.
You'd be close.
Game of minds going on here. Of course, execution important, both looking for that roll. And now Kevin has the opportunity to do that and force Frank to possibly run the double or draw in behind, depending on where this roll exists, to the 4-foot in an attempt to steal.
Kevin Martin's first shot here of the 8th end.
Okay, oh. Whoa, Wow.
Nice control weight here.
Wow. Oh.
Is it going to move enough to get the roll that they're looking for?
Yes.
Seems to be a real straight area of the ice, isn't it?
Well, I think the curler's a little bit frustrated. You know, they'd like to see some movement.
What about an out turn? Yeah.
In the stones, but once again, you know, conditions are not such, so they're going to have to deal with it and play accordingly and wait to see who can get the first jump on the other.
Firm board.
Calgary committee having done an excellent job of organizing this provincial championship under the direction of the Southern Alberta Curling Association and our Safeway sponsor and Husky and so on. It's been a great week.
They've had some big crowds, and the biggest crowd of the week, of course, out to watch this championship final between Morissette and Martin.
All right.
Again, Frank on his release has a lot of movement in that arm. Will it generate the kind of thing that he wants in order to get the hit and roll behind this top guard? Very well done.
Rolls out the other side of it, but that rock hat covered.
Kevin makes no second guess. He can see half a rock, and that's good enough for him. If he sees a shadow, it's probably good enough for him because he'll go after it. But again, depending upon how he would want to play this end, some teams may want to have a look at taking a point here, depending upon where they want to be in the 9th and the 10th end. But not Kevin. He's elected to say, let's get at this, let's roll out, and I want to maintain the hammer right until the 10th end.
Clean.
And he does just that, and he says, if I can't maintain the hammer, then what I'll try and do is get 2 points in the 9th end. So let's see where he goes with that, Barry.
4-4 as Martin blanks number 8, and we'll return with our coverage of the Safeway Select Provincial Men's Curling Championship right after this.
The Safeway Select Alberta Men's Curling Championships are brought to you by the fine makers of Safeway Select products like Southwest Salsa. 3 great flavors, 1 original taste. All from Safeway Select. Discover why everybody's going to Majestic RV World for the largest selection of recreational vehicles in Western Canada, featuring an unbeatable lineup of Class A and Class C motorhomes, including the wide-body diesel pusher, the Allegro Bus, bold exterior, specially designed wide-body interior, spacious, roomy, and affordable, plus Allegro Bus slide-outs offer the utmost in space and comfort, so you can rough it smoothly with Allegro for the best selection. The best prices you must see. Majestic RV.
Moving fast, cruising slow. When you're on the road, there's just one place to go. Husky, like a real good friend. People you count on time and again. No matter where the road may wind, we'll be there waiting down the line, giving you that peace of mind. Husky, here in Canada, Husky.
I don't do shocks and brakes and water pumps and those things. I'm a transmission specialist. If you need a service or repair of your automatic or your standard transfer case differential, see a specialist. See National Transmission.
They're not your typical characters,
Bull feathers.
whatever their rank.
Ready for the Army again.
They're generally refined personnel.
To the Rich brothers.
With a unique quality, all of their very own.
Don't think of me as a woman.
Don't stand in profile.
Smash, weeknights at 6:30 on RDTV's TV Dinner.
Two Boys Magical Calling Contest is coming. We've got tons of prizes to give away, including the grand prize, a trip for 4 to Disneyland. Keep watching RDTV's Two Crew for your chance to win in Two Boys Magical Calling Contest. Coming soon.
We're live at the Calgary Curling Club, and end number 9 of this Provincial Men's Championship. Frank Morissette and Kevin Martin tied 4-4, and of course a lot of times we join our ends in progress up to the second stones, but the leads play a very big role, and Don Bartlett has done his job, of course. He's been with Kevin Martin for a lot of years.
Barry, the lead position has changed tremendously since the inventation, or whatever the word is that you want to use, of the pre-guard zone. It's these people that set up the ends, and where they place that stone is vital. And we've seen two leads here this week in Don Bartlett and Marlon Rosentuck do an excellent job, and they are doing just that today. Don Bartlett shooting 95% after 8 ends of play, and Marlon Rosentuck shooting 84%. So they certainly are doing their job, and as we see where that Yellowstone is right now, it's in a very important place in order for Frank Morissette to try and steal here in this end.
Kevin Martin with the 2 red stones counting right now.
Right,
certainly they are
perfect.
set up for the double.
Out turn. Hit either one first, doesn't
Martin,
matter.
of course, with his lead, had him come into the house, over to the wings, and this is a strategy that is being used a lot to counterattack that center guard.
Yep. Very hard. Real hard. Real hard. Hurry up. Hurry up. Come on. Hurry up.
Kevin did not want his lead to place that rock up front as a corner guard because of the position of that Yellowstone. So as a result, had him come into the house, and now he's going to have some backing here, and let's see how aggressive he gets with this.
Ron, the free guard zone rule's been around just for a couple of years. Has it taken a bit of time for skips and teams to adjust to the strategies? Are we seeing real strategy now because of that, and it's maybe evolved a little bit since we've started this new rule?
I think it's really added to the interest of the game. You know, we're now starting to see more rocks in play, and of course, at the world level, one of the interesting comments yesterday, as we'll talk a little bit later, the Olympic trials were here, and both teams, Burtnick and Folk, had to play the 4-rock rule, and they are really impressed with it. And it's good for the spectators. It requires the front end now to execute a little bit more diligently in terms of the finesse shots. You know, we're just not throwing and hitting and cleaning everything. I think it's really improved the game, and I'm sure that the players feel it's taxed their skill level as well. It's good, and one of the things these teams, either one of these teams, if they win the Canadians, are going to have to deal with, then they got to start playing the 4-rock rule, and that's even more interesting.
Morissette with the hit and roll, but he rolls into the open on the other side of that center guard into the 8-foot circle.
Curling, since the invention of the rule, also has become more of a thinking game in an effort to almost call it a chess procedure, whereby one skip tries to out-finesse the other with the ability of his players, or her players, as the case may be, and I'm very pleased with where it's gone.
Oh, right off. Right off. That's all right.
Sean Broda will hit and roll out and lose his shooter. So just that one red-handled stone at the back of the 12.
Now, how aggressive will Frank be here? He's set up in an ideal position, but is he going to go after that red rock, which is behind, or is he going to neglect and go after it? And it looks like he's going after it. He can't afford to let Kevin take 2 points at this time. So he said, boys, let's get rid of this. Let's not gamble and go behind, especially when the rock is not curling like they would see it. I think maybe if we saw some movement in the stone here, you'd see Frank maybe make a move and try to come around that center guard, which is in a nice position.
Now.
Seeing the rock fall back just a wee bit here.
He will get a corner of it and lose his shooter, Brian Brown, with his first stone here of number 9.
This gives Kevin the opportunity to go up and take this Morissette stone off and say, let's blank this one, boys, and go into the 10th with the hammer, which this thing all started with. Frank really wanted his stone to remain there, of course, then this would have forced Kevin to go after that stone and leave this Morissette rock where it is. You can be assured with Don Walchuk throwing, it's not going to stick around there, nor is his shooter going to.
So it is wide open here as we move to the second shot for the Morissette third, Brian Brown. Brian curling at 89% through 8 ends of play, and that is just outstanding. 85% as a team for Morissette, 84 for Martin, and that's really been indicative of what we've seen here, just not a lot of misses.
Frank will be asking third man, Brian Brown, to place this rock close to the rings.
Way out. Right here.
Once again, we're into a situation where he doesn't want to be short, nor does he want to be in the rings, because if he is in the rings, of course, give Kevin the opportunity to hit.
That's good, that's good, that's good.
And then Frank would have to deal with that stone.
NACA, their mission to promote and develop curling.
Hip, hard, quick, hard!
Don Walchuk, in an attempt to try and peel that stone and clean everything out, perhaps maybe just threw it in just a wee bit, and as we've indicated with that weight, you don't have much opportunity to do anything with it, and but nevertheless, it's off that 4 foot, and he's happy with that, although I'm sure would like to have seen it out of the way just in case Frank comes behind this stone.
We're in the ninth end. It's a tie at 4-4 between Morissette and Martin.
Tricky piece of ice right here, as we've seen in the earlier ends. Very difficult to get any movement out of the stone. Some of these high-performance players now, of course, are learning how to manipulate the handle and be able to get some more movement with the stone by putting more turn, less turn on, so on, and that's how sometimes you can get out of a run that is there. Let's see what Frank does here as he makes an effort to try and come around that Martin stone.
Clean. Ball for line.
On the corner.
Clean. Ball. Clean. Ball for line.
Are we going to get any movement?
Lots and lots.
He's saying there's lots of room. And I think we see this point, just as it reaches that hog line, it tends to straighten out, and there's no way that it's going to duck or bury.
Had the right weight, but he's wide open in the 8 foot.
Some sign of frustration through some deep size there, as Frank Morissette feels some of the pressure of him needing to steal or do something to make sure he has control in the 10th end. Kevin Martin, of course, will do everything in his power to make sure that he maintains the control that he is now experiencing by having the hammer here in the 9th end. The score tied.
Yep. Oh. Oh, 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 oh. 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 Roll it.
Whoa.
Whoa, whoa, yeah.
Hard, hard. All the way. Of course, Kevin, realizing that if he wasn't going to get the hit and roll behind that corner, wanted to get it as far away from that corner as possible so that Frank wouldn't have the opportunity to hit and roll.
Make sure we stay, though.
It's important that, as you just heard him say, it's important that he stay on this stone. Of course, if he doesn't, Kevin would immediately throw his stone through, and he would have his game plan intact since the 7th end in an effort to keep the hammer for the final end of this championship game here at the Calgary Curling Club.
Morissette, final delivery here of number 9, tied at 4.
Serious concentration.
Straight. Very hard. Easy. Easy. Whoa! Straight. Straight. Oh, not straight. Okay.
There's an example of the control weight that we saw Frank use here. Initially, it may look like that rock was out there, but he threw the weight he threw, gave it some opportunity to move, and gave it the opportunity, the sweepers the opportunity, and the line caller the opportunity to do something with it.
Kevin Martin now ready for his final stone of 9, looking to hit and roll out and maintain the hammer for 10.
Clean. Hard! 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 Real hard!
And we see Kevin Martin there hitting and sticking and taking a point, which I'm sure he did not want to do at this particular time, Barry.
But he does get the point and a 5-4 lead. Frank Morissette will have last rock advantage in the 10th end, and we'll have it for you right after this.
The Safeway Select Alberta Men's Curling Championships are brought to you by premium quality Safeway Select products, featuring a variety of premium crackers and your choice of 3 different flavors, all available from Safeway Select. Discover why everybody's going to Majestic RV World for the largest selection of recreational vehicles in Western Canada, featuring an unbeatable lineup of Class A and Class C motorhomes, including the wide-body diesel pusher, the Allegro Bus, bold exterior, specially designed wide-body interior, spacious, roomy, and affordable, plus Allegro Bus slide-outs offer the utmost in space and comfort, so you can rough it smoothly with Allegro. For the best selection, the best prices, you must see Majestic RV.
Some people will go to extremes rather than have their windshields fixed. And frankly, we can't understand why. Because at Crystal Glass, we make it easy. From full replacements to simple repairs, you're in and you're out, hassle-free, guaranteed. We stand behind our service. For windshield replacement and repairs, your choice is clear. Crystal Glass, auto glass specialists for over 40 years. Look for the location nearest you.
Moving fast, cruising slow. When you're on the road, there's just one place to go. Husky, like a real good friend. People you count on time and again. No matter where the road may wind, we'll be there waiting down the line, giving you that peace of mind. Husky, here in Canada, Husky.
$20,000 for a new car? Ouch. Hey, if your car runs good, looks bad, paint it. That's right, paint it and save at Maaco. Why? The Maaco Supreme Plus sale is on. Supreme Plus at half price. Now only $265. Get our prep package with a full coat of primer sealer, our famous Supreme paint service. Come on in now and get our integrated UV sunscreen for extra protection. All half price. For a limited time only, $265. Painting your car with Maaco Supreme Plus at half price? That's Canada's smart choice.
Off. Wait for it.
There you see some of the crowd watching on in this 10th end. A lot of them cheering for Frank Morissette, playing in his home club here at the Calgary Curling Club. He trails Kevin Martin 5-4 as we play 10, but a big play on that last end of the ninth. Kevin Martin hitting and sticking, relinquishing the hammer to Frank Morissette.
And as we indicated right from the beginning of this telecast, each team looking for a break. And Frank Morissette is now saying to himself, is that the break that I needed to get by those 3 not very good breaks that he had early in order to allow him to sweep away the championship from Kevin Martin, who had things well in control and was hoping to keep the hammer here in the 10th end. But with that hit and stick was not able to do so.
Doesn't quite spill both of those red stones belonging to Martin, and it actually does duck behind that corner guard cover.
Once again, not to belabor the point, but Kevin played the first rock into the 4-foot. Frank replied with a corner guard that, in my opinion, it could be to the detriment of him. He played too far over the side, and is he ever going to get a chance to use it with Kevin now, having run those stone, and now he's got one behind it. So it's a matter of opinion. I know a lot of competitive curlers talk a lot about it, but I guess it'll revolutionize itself as to how we see the corner guard being utilized in the free guard zone.
This is Sean Broda, the Martin second.
Wait there, I think. Okay. No. Hurry. Needs it. Needs it. Okay. Hard for line. Wait's good. Hard for line.
Working hard on this stone.
Hard.
Really like to get this behind this corner guard, or center guard, pardon me. And there we see a little bit of movement on the stones, which, well, could have something to do with the way that that stone is released as well. And we've seen that happen with Sean's rock several times. So perhaps he is doing something with that turn as he's releasing it, because he is seeming to get more curl out of it than the other players do.
Frank Morissette has called for the freeze. Obviously, he's getting on the offense right away here.
And again, here we go with the corner guard. Now it's come into Frank's advantage. So there's the controversy that exists regarding the utilization of that corner guard, especially in the later ends.
Line's real good.
Fine looking shot here coming by second man Gary Jensen.
Great shot.
Beautifully done. Could not have been more perfect.
Gary Jensen curling 82% through 9 ends of play. The Morissette rink as a whole curling 84% as opposed to 83 to Martin. It's been that close.
There it comes with the final little sweep, but a very, very fine shot.
A lot of room. Can you wait? No.
Got to wait on this one. That looks like it needs to come.
Yeah, we had no line at all.
Maybe a little hotter also than Sean would like it to be.
Probably hit it first.
Nudge that yellow stone.
Hard.
And
not bad.
Roll into the 8-foot.
Interesting, yeah.
An indication there just how important that stone of Gary Jensen's was, and that it was frozen to the face of that red rock and making it very difficult for Martin to do anything with that stone. And Frank, of course, is hoping that that will be his assurance marker as he attempts to get 2 points here with the hammer in the 10th end.
Lane. Out away. Lane it. Hey!
Carrying this one very hard.
Just by.
Two very fine shots by second man Gary Jensen. Good sweeping by the Morissette team.
Marlon Rosachuk and Brian Brown brushing that one all the way. Just got by the guard.
Kevin Martin now having to go to some aggressive play here, and notice how it's moved away from his defensive style. With that freeze that we saw Jensen pull over to the side, Kevin has now got to come back and generate some offense of his own in an attempt to try to put some pressure on Frank Morissette and to keep him to one so that Martin could have the hammer in the extra end.
Right there. Line. Hurry.
Watching the line carefully.
Hurry.
Line is most important in this shot, is that he'd like to freeze right to the face of that stone and perhaps maybe just move it a little bit.
Wow.
And be lying 2 points.
I got it. Freeze it.
Now, the interesting thing now we see here is what's going to be determined by those two stones over on the 12-foot and the 8-foot.
Here in curling, it's Husky, the Quality Products Company.
Well, it's certainly game on here, Ron Myers, isn't it? It's really a lot of opportunities and a lot of different ways they can go about this. The strategy is really on here.
This is what it's all about, and it's the 10th end with all the marbles on the table, and we've seen a couple of shots made to perfection, and now the game is on. Morissette trying to get his 2 points, and Martin being very, very pleased if he can keep Morissette to one and go into the extra end. I don't think Frank's too worried about that, keeping that back yellow stone. He'd like to move this and maybe hit and roll behind. He nearly racked on that top stone. I think he got out there just a little bit more than he wanted. And here again, we're going to see Kevin Martin say, okay, the game's on. Let's see what we can do now to possibly steal in this end.
He just squeezed by that guard, picking out the Martin stone and losing his shooter, but still counting 2 right now.
All of those rocks around the peripheral now seem to take on less significance as we get down to the crunch, with the thirds going to be throwing into that 4-foot. And I'm sure that that's where we're going to see the game be decided unless some unforeseen things happen where those rocks on the side come into play.
Line's good. Move. Whoa. Off. Stay close. Off. Wait. Okay. Whoa. Off. I'll bring it right back. Come on.
And we get his back then as far as we can. It's not going to bury.
Good stuff.
But he's prepared to take that. The important thing here is that that rock remain in front of the tee line. Had it gone and slipped behind, of course, Frank would be willing to use that and move the stone, or freeze, pardon me, with his rock to that stone.
Want to roll away?
He's asking now that that red stone be removed.
Hey, roll
unless
board.
He's looking at the double as well.
Forward weight. We don't need to make the double, do we?
The question there, of course, is what his second shot, and from our vantage point here, it looks like yellow is the second stone, although they are close.
This board or firm board?
He's correct about not needing to have the double. Brian Brown. Trying to throw board weight here, as they've indicated it's up. Can he remove that red stone? Good sweeping.
Just by the guard again.
Oh, very fine shot.
He manages to split off his yellow stone at the back of the 12, but he is still counting 2.
Well, as they say, you know, the going gets tough, the tough get going, and we're seeing some fine shot making here in the 10th end.
Down to skip stones, and this is why they're paid the big bucks, why they're the skips. It's really going to come down to their shots to decide who goes to the Briar next month in Kamloops.
Intensity shown on the face of Don Walchuk as Kevin Martin attempts to remove this Morissette stone. Interesting here, can he get the double or move that yellow stone?
That big weight again.
Throwing the big weight.
He did it. Great shot by Martin.
Great shot by Kevin Martin. A great shot.
Well, they've done it again. This rink seems to make the big shots when they need it, and that was perfect. He threw the big weight, but he was right on.
And we look at this again, and he catches just enough of that stone, and above all, gets a bonus by saving his rock, which ultimately could put some pressure on what Frank Morissette has to do with his last stone. Of course, he will neglect that. As we indicated, it's going to be settled around the 4-foot at this particular time. So he's going to try and come around that center yellow guard. They're talking about the ice.
What?
Of course, Frank knows the weight that he has to throw. Let's hear what they have to say.
Oh, I see what you mean. You want to go around the, this way? What's that? Around here? He wants to go around the corner. You want to go around the corner? Go around here? Not bad. Let's go around the 4-foot. The 4? Yeah. You?
He's saying that he wants to come around the part of the ice where he feels he's going to get the best movement, and has elected, of course, because he knows his weight to the 4-foot. And you want to take as many advantages as you can at this particular time of the game and throw to your strengths, not to what you have to guess at. That comes if you all have to resort to the
No, Gary, no.
Where did he throw this?
Whoa, clean it! Still walk away.
Have to be wise conscious here. Is that rock going to break at the end? I'd like to keep it in front of the tee.
Starting to come a little bit now.
Frank Morissette threw a good shot there, and I think that's about the best you're going to get in that particular position. See half a stone here, and Kevin is saying, let's go after that and pick it out.
Might end up staying straighter.
If he does that, he doesn't really care about his shooter. What he's saying is, let's get that thing out of there so that we force Frank to draw for his point and
never know what the draw might do.
move into the extra end. Like he's saying, he's not very sure of what the draw is, and again, playing to his strength, which we've seen all weekend, and week, by the way, is to pick that stone out of there.
Final shot of 10 for Kevin Martin.
Clean. Hard.
He's got it. And that'll force Frank Morissette to draw it to send this game to an extra end. I guess there's also the other advantage of throwing down here. If you gets the exact same shot two shots in a row, doesn't it?
Right. And that's exactly the point that I'm sure why he elected to go to the 4-foot there. He's saying, I'm probably going to have to draw with my last rock anyway. Let's see where this goes. Let me get the feel of that 4-foot weight, which he certainly has had all game. But hopefully he will, as we see here, Kevin Martin attempting to pick out that Morissette stone, does just that. It's half a stone and rolls out. Once again, not concerned about his shooter at all. Forcing Frank Morissette to now have it to draw to the full 12-foot in order to take this game into extra ends.
Yep. Hurry hard, Gary, hurry hard. Push!
He got the weight. He's asked his players to get on it immediately.
Got to be full 12.
He's asking his players to hurry.
He's got it.
Brian Brown is confident that it's there, and it is. Nice shot by Frank.
Sail once again into the 4-foot circle, and he gets his 1 point, and we are tied 5-5. The curling's been so good, we've decided to go an extra end. We'll be back with the 11th right after this.
Moving fast, cruising slow. When you're on the road, there's just one place to go. Husky like a real good friend. People you count on time and again. No matter where the road may wind, we'll be there waiting down the line, giving you that peace of mind. Husky, here in Canada, it's Husky.
Discover why everybody's going to Majestic RV World for the largest selection of recreational vehicles in Western Canada, featuring an unbeatable lineup of Class A and Class C motorhomes. Experience the difference with Triple E motorhomes. 3 models to choose from: Empress, Commander, and Embassy. The best value on the market today. Climate, durability, and dependability have made Triple E a Canadian favorite for the best selection, for the best price. You must see Majestic RV.
Its needs are simple, and so are yours. Take a natural approach to life and visit the Health Huts. Garlic is nature's original remedy. Choose from a variety of formulated quality products. Vitamin C, ordinary or chewable tablets available in assorted flavors. Visit the Lacombe Health Hut or Peggy's Health Hut in Hannah.
No, este no es un canal étnico. Estamos en Las Palmeras Restaurante presentando verdadera y auténtica comida mexicana. ¿Les gustará nuestro menú? Almuerzo o cena sabemos que quedarán satisfechos. Prueben nuestras fajitas de res, quesadillas de camarones, chile relleno o cualquier otra de nuestras comidas. Albino quiere que sepan que toda nuestra comida es 100% libre de MSG. ¿Verdad que es simpático? Y no se preocupen, no tienen que hablar español para comer acá. Enjoy your meal.
Get the real thing at Las Palmeras in Red Deer.
The Sweepa Easy Iron Board cover can actually cut ironing time in half. It's unlike anything you've used before. Simply spray with water, then iron as usual. The high-tech foam surface reflects heat and steam back up into the garment, ironing both sides at once, just like a professional steam press, eliminating unsightly double creases. Buttons, zippers, and embroidery are no problem. They sink into the foam surface so you can iron just one side for perfect results. Ironing large surfaces has never been easier. Fabrics slide over the slip edge and cling to the unique foam surface so sheets and tablecloths won't slip. The Sweepa Easy Ironboard cover reflects heat this effectively, so you can actually leave your iron flat while ironing, and it can't slip or slide. The Sweepa Easy Ironboard cover is only $14.95. Order now, and we'll include the Sweepa lint brush as a free bonus. Use your credit card and call this toll-free number now, or send $14.95 plus shipping and handling to the address on your screen.
Welcome back to the Calgary Curling Club, and the provincial men's champion will be decided in an extra end. Frank Morissette and Kevin Martin are tied at 5-5. Morissette with the cool draw to the 4-foot in the 10th to send it to an extra end, but Kevin Martin with last rock advantage, and that will be very key. And we're just getting underway here in the 11th. The rinks with the opportunity to take a 3-minute break, and they did just that. So this is the first stone of 11 from the Morissette lead, Marlon Rosachuk. And both of these teams, how much more even can you get? They have both curled 84%, tied at 5 on the scoreboard, and it's been great curling from both teams here at the Safeway Select Provincial Men's Championship.
Go Hacks.
That's the Martin lead. Don Bartlett getting ready for his first stone here of 11.
Well, clean. Weights up. Ball off it. No. No. Nah, floating point.
Worked so hard to keep all
recover
condition, and by finishing in first place, got the hammer and color of stones, and here we are in the extra end, Barry, and he's got the hammer. This is what it's all about.
Saw Don Bartlett there trying just to nudge that center stone over, and he didn't get it, but I guess that's one of those shots where if you make it, that's fine. If you don't, well, you can't do much about it.
It's a very tough shot to perform, but if it works, it's great. You get that rock off of the center, and force Morissette to replace one at the same place.
It's a new shot that leads the vet to learn with the free guard zone rule, isn't it?
Weight's so important in that particular shot because you can't afford to have too much weight or hit the rock too full to move it into the sideboards. It just has to be almost perfect.
And had he moved it out of play, they would have replaced it. Because it's in the free guard zone rule, you can't remove it from play.
Frank Morissette here may have asked his lead to play this one out just a little bit further or in. Of course, setting them up as close like that, Kevin is going to make every effort to try and keep this end as free from yellow rocks as he possibly can. And we'll see him ask his player to perform the shot that they have completed so many times during this competition. And that's
No.
But he jams it onto the other yellow stone, so that yellow rock right on the center line.
So we're into the situation where Frank has to now decide, do I come in at this point in time? Is it too early? Or do I want to stay in front of the rings and create more clutter? He's asking his player what turn he would like.
Come this way.
It's a good thing for a skip to do so that the player knows how he's feeling, and if he feels confident about reading the ice, it's an opportunity for the player to play to his strength.
Oh, you got room. Right.
Saw Gary Jensen make 2 great shots in the last end. But to no avail, as Frank was only, the Morissette team was only able to pick up one.
Hurry!
Some movement in that stone. Very well done.
A good shot, and he is sitting full 4 foot, biting the button.
Gary Jensen has arisen to the occasion and performed brilliantly here in the latter ends of this game.
Now the Martin second, Sean Broda.
Can he get 2 with this stone? He'll be happy to clear off the front, but if he gets 2, it would be a bonus. The big thing is that he removes the stone and the shooter at this point in time. Which means that the Morissette team will now have to place up perfect guards for the remainder of this end. And force Kevin Martin to either run the double at the end or draw to the button. Kevin Martin shooting 93% to this point in time.
No, it'll work.
He'd very much like to use that percentage in his last rock here as he attempts to win this in an extra end. Alberta Men's Championship.
All right. 2 feet short.
They don't want to touch this one. But they would like it close enough.
Nice shot.
To create the gap that will either prevent the double or not allow Kevin some space to draw. Good crowd here at the Calgary Curling Club watching this final, Barry.
And we're hoping everyone at home is enjoying our live coverage here of the provincial men's final.
Hard! Go, come on! Get out of there.
Oh, great just got it out.
Shot.
And another key double for Team Martin.
Now we see some Martin fans cheering on that double. But Frank is not going to let that bother him. He says we've got to go back in here and get down to that 4-foot as there is some granite out front. Or is he... No, he's going to...
Another one up be any good?
Stay there. I guess we heard also, would another one be up any good? And I like that shot, another rock up front. Especially since the rock out there is the Martin stone, which would give him the opportunity. Here's this replay of this great double that we saw.
Clean, yep. Oh, easy. Whoa. Clean it. Yep.
Not sure whether they want this one, but it looks like they want this one into the house. Lots of room. It's important that he stay in front of that tee. Nice shot.
Notice a little bit more curl here in the late end.
Kevin's going for 2 options here. He says, I'd like to pick that out, but of course he'd be happy to hit that top guard as well. But the shot that he wants, of course, is to pick this and force the Morissette team to come to the 4-foot again. Knowing full well that the rock, very difficult to bury at this point.
Hurry! Clean.
Up weight by
Good.
Don Walchuk.
Curl.
And he does just that.
Gets the corner of it, loses his shooter, but that house is clear once again.
Don Walchuk shooting 85% to this point in time in the game, and I don't know. I don't think we can count the number of doubles he's made.
Well, I've had a chance to watch the semifinal yesterday, and he repeatedly was making doubles against Dennis Graber of Grand Prairie as Martin won that one 8-5, and he's
How much
done it
left
again
is that,
today.
Frank?
Talking about provincial finals, Graham Prowse, one of the competitive skips who has been here, has indicated to us that this provincial championship in 1997 will be in Fort Nelson, British Columbia. Of course, it's in British Columbia, but it's the Alberta Championship because Fort Nelson belongs to the Peace Curling Association. He's looking forward to a great show there as well. A little frustration showing there in the sense that maybe this rock isn't coming as much. Though it may break at the end. Got to keep this in front of the tee. Oh, we don't. I don't think he wanted that rock there. Now Kevin has to make a decision, and being the defensive team, don't be too surprised if he goes and peels that rock. That's right. The only rock that can hurt him at this point in time is that rock up front, and Kevin's been around long enough to say, hey, we're not going to get trapped into this whole game, and so he's going up there to clean it off. Frank, of course, would like to see him come around that, freeze to the back or come to the back, but it's not going to happen.
Wait. Shot, Don.
He jammed it onto that yellow stone that was almost out of play, and he stays in the rings biting the 12.
I don't really think that's going to have be a rock that's going to have to be contended with. However, one never knows in this game that's played on ice.
Rock space there. Yeah.
The on-ice official, of course, right there to indicate to the players that it was a clean hit, no double jam.
Well, we're down to skip stones here in the 11th. 5-5, Morissette and Martin. The winner advances on to the Brier in Kamloops, March 2nd to 10th.
Yep. Once again, one of the things Frank has to be concerned here about is where he places this stone in relation to the tee line. I think he wants enough separation so that, you know, Kevin obviously can't run the double. But he also would like to set it up in a strategic place so that if Kevin does decide to run that and gets the jam on the back, he'll have an opportunity to still have some yellow stones in play. If he leaves it too far out, it's going to be interesting to see whether Kevin will continue to play aggressively and run the double or draw.
Let it curl
Watching
again.
it carefully.
Clean it. Clean it. Whoa, let it curl. Clean it. Clean it. Clean it. Hurry. Hurry hard,
Sweeping
guys.
rule has become much more lenient as long as there's no corner snow plowing. Basically, any motion is acceptable.
Come on.
No, I don't think Frank wanted that rock out there that much. But may not be in a bad spot, depending upon what Kevin Martin does here.
Can maybe use that later for his first shot.
Or for his second shot. Yeah. The point is, it's up there. It's difficult. I know Kevin and his team are talking now. Is that the rock that can hurt us?
Might not even bury, though. Yeah. Okay, pick it up.
So he'll play it tight, and if he picks the back one, fine. But I think he'd like to see that top rock go.
Clean. Oh. Clean.
And he picks out the back one.
Any portion of the rock zone is good enough for him.
And maybe perhaps that red biter does come into play if Frank Morissette doesn't vary. Kevin Martin doesn't have to stick around with his last shot.
Shot of the tournament here for Frank Morissette. Of course, he's thinking, have I got the right ice to make this rock bury? I don't think there's any question about the fact that he knows the weight. He's thrown it all game. Forefoot should not be a problem. The problem, I would guess right now, is where he places this broom and how hard this rock breaks at the end in order to try to bury behind that top rock that he threw up there previously.
I guess the danger, he wants to be as aggressive as possible and bury it, but he can't be on the guard or else Kevin won't have to throw his last rock.
I think that's why Kevin talked about chipping that out last time and saying that I don't think we can, we may be able to leave that up there because I don't think it's going to bury anyway. I think I heard him say that.
It's very quiet in here. Frank Morissette getting ready for his final shot of 11.
It's all right. Yep. Off the way. Yep. Great. Hard. Great. Great. Get a bye. Great.
Very nice shot. Very nice shot.
Fighting the forefoot
there.
Kevin Martin didn't take a whole lot of time putting the broom down.
Well, as you'll notice now, the sweeper's being very careful to clean the path. The last thing they want at this particular time is any debris on the ice in the path of this stone. Kevin Martin, who's had the 4-foot in his back pocket all week, has the opportunity now to prove to Albertans and all curling fans that he can do just that.
For the provincial title.
Oh. Okay, a lot of room. Lots of weight. A lot of room. Hurry.
You got the weight?
A lot of weight. Oh, a lot of room.
They're saying lots of weight. Sweeper's cleaning it.
Oh, got no backing.
There's no backing. Is that rock going to stay out there?
Whoa, 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 whoa.
He's got a great looking shot, and Kevin Martin is the provincial champion for the 4th time in 6 years. A tremendous display of curling from two very classy rinks. Kevin Martin 6'5" over Frank Morissette. And Kevin Martin will go to the Brier again, the 4th time in 6 years. And we'll be back to talk with both skips right after this when our coverage continues live from the Calgary Curling Club.
The Safeway Select Alberta Men's Curling Championships are brought to you by premium quality Safeway Select products featuring enlightened soups and 4 distinct flavors. Safeway Select, your premium choice. This is it, Alberta. Western Canada's largest single-day auction is the Vold, Jones & Vold Auction Company in Ponoka. Whether you're buying or selling, Vold, Jones & Vold is the place to be. Their unique 2-ring system enables you to get in all the action at once while seeing thousands of head in one day. Get speedy and satisfying results due to modern technology, great facilities, and a computerized system. Watch for regular sales every Wednesday and special sales throughout the week. Call 783-5561 for more information.
Nice to meet both of you. Welcome to Woody's. Whether it be used, new, parts, service, we've got everything here. We have highly trained RV technicians. We welcome clients that shop around because they realize that the prices are lower at Woody's RV World. We are Alberta's RV Superstore.
Share the vision. All-weather windows.
Moving fast, cruising slow. When you're on the road, there's just one place to go. Husky like a real good friend. People you count on time and again. No matter where the road may wind, we'll be there waiting down the line, giving you that peace of mind. Husky, here in Canada, it's Husky.
With me now is the champion of the 1996 Safeway Select Alberta Men's Championship, Kevin Martin. Kevin, you're the repeat champion. Tell everybody out there how you feel.
Feels good. Feels good. It's always hard to withstand the stress and the pressure of trying to repeat. So it feels really good right now.
Kevin, your team has played extremely well all through the competition. If you were to select any particular strengths that you think your team has that carried you through, what would it be?
Oh, probably the team. We have a good group of guys that, we hang in there pretty good. We give up a couple of sloppy deuces this game. And things came around at the end. We stayed together. That's probably our strength.
I think I saw a little bit there as we proceeded after the 5th end, a little frustration on the fact that you weren't getting those doubles. Did you feel the momentum sort of shift a little bit to the Morissette team at that time?
Definitely. Without question, after, I think they got the deuce in 7, didn't they? To get back to tie game. Yeah, I didn't like that deuce. That was bad timing. The 7th end is a bad time to give up the tying deuce. So, we got fortunate. He actually had her in the bag in 10, and that's the way it goes.
Kevin, you're off to Kamloops now, and another shot at the Brier, and I know you want to try to improve your standings from last year. The added thing that you have at this particular Brier is the whole business that you may qualify for a spot in the Olympic position, which you've also had some experience at. Does that help you and provide some incentive for you and your team?
Well, Briar itself's enough incentive, but the carrot, the Olympic carrot's always big too. So, no, we'll give her heck. Hopefully we represent Alberta well.
Kevin, we're going to let you go and savor this victory. I know you want to spend some time with your team and your fans. Once again, congratulations. A great job done all week long. Carried the banner well to Kamloops. Congratulations.
Thanks. I just want to say hi to my mom and Kark and Kalisha at home.
Thank you.
Moving fast, cruising slow. When you're on the road, there's just one place to go. Husky like a real good friend. People you count on time and again. No matter where the road may wind, we'll be there waiting down the line, giving you that peace of mind. Husky, here in Canada, it's Husky.
Glenn's Restaurant is an Alberta best restaurant. A restaurant where breakfast is served all day long. Fluffy omelets made with fresh farm eggs and pancakes hot off the griddle. A restaurant where the service complements the food. Food that's reasonably priced and that's on the table in no time at all. The menu offers a huge variety of dishes, like pastas, burgers, salads, and heart-smart food, too. There's something for everyone at Glenn's Restaurant. When you're hungry, head for the Teapot. Glenn's Restaurant is on Highway 2 South, Red Deer.
Discover the 20th annual Red Deer RV Exposition and Sale. Step inside an RV and imagine traveling to any destination with all the conveniences of home. Don't miss this RV extravaganza. 4 days only. February 16th to 19th at Westerner Park. Red Deer's 7 top RV dealers. Woody's, Vellner's, Uncle Ben's, Four Seasons, Venture, Southside Plymouth Chrysler, and Capital RV will all be there. February 16th to 19th at Westerner Park.
And this is your payment. Your new Pioneer Chrysler Jeep car, your new Pioneer payment. Compare. Old car, old payment. New car, new payment. Any similarities? This is Pioneer Chrysler Jeep Wetaskiwin. They'll take the old car off your hands and give you a new one at the same payment. No money down, no payment till spring. Hey, can we see that no money down, no payments again? There, you see? Perhaps you'd like to compare repair bills also.
Pioneer Chrysler Jeep, where cars cost less in Wetaskiwin.
And this is our service manager, just in case you decide you like the old beater.
Do not pay for 1 full year at Source One. You heard it right. Enjoy now, pay later. No interest, nothing down, and no payments for 1 full year on all kitchens, appliances, and bathrooms. That's right. No interest, nothing down, and no payments for 1 full year on all kitchens, appliances, and bathrooms. Believe it. No interest, nothing down, and no payments for 1 full year on all kitchens, appliances, and bathrooms. At Source One, call or visit today for a free estimate. Source One, on the corner of Gates and 77.
Live coverage of the Safeway Select Men's Curling Championships has been presented to you by Canada Safeway.
With me now is Frank Morissette, the runner-up at the Alberta Men's Championship here. Frank, I know that you would much sooner be on the other end of the scoreboard, but you have to be very, very proud of the way you and your team have played throughout this whole competition and the way that you played throughout this game.
We had a very good week. It's just, the last game was a very well-curled game, and came down to basically in the 10th end. We had the 10th end set up the way we wanted, and we might have made a little bit of a mistake in Brian's last one. We should have thrown full hit at the shot instead of playing quiet, and as it turned out, we hit at the nose, and that it gave them a chance to get out of the end, and it, well, that's the way it goes. They played well, and they deserved it, and I hope they do well in Kamloops.
Frank, in the 5th end, we noticed that you went through a series of about 3 bad breaks in a row there, and we tended to see the momentum shift a little bit. But you came through that very, very well. Did you feel the momentum was shifting towards your way there when you got your 2 points back to get back in the game?
Well, we had a bit of a bad break in the 5th end. Kevin's rock kind of picked up something, and he got 2 out of by hitting a rock up front and raised it into the rings. But my last shot in the 5th end, I threw actually quite well, and it just didn't curl at all. There wasn't much curl to the ice, and but we come back, we fought back, we never gave up. We got a good 2 and 7, and then in the 10th end we had it set up the way we wanted, but it just didn't work out for us.
Once again, Frank, we know it's a tough loss for you and your team, but the way that you fellows have played, we look forward to this team coming back, and I know you're going to be in this championship again, and for that matter, many years to come. Congratulations on a great spiel, a great weekend, and we look forward to seeing you again next year.
Thank you very much. I'd just like to congratulate my team. They played well all week, and good luck to Kevin's team in Kamloops. Thank you.
Okay, thanks very much, Ron Myers. And Frank Morissette, certainly nothing to hang his head about. He was outstanding. His whole rink was outstanding, curling in the mid-80s against Kevin Martin. It just came down to Kevin Martin having that last rock in the 11th end, and he managed to make the shot and win it 6-5. And certainly his team made a lot of big shots throughout the game. Don Walchuk made a lot of big doubles. I think the one Frank Morissette will be thinking about, and Kevin Martin for that matter, was the double that Kevin Martin made in 10 to really get out of it, because Frank Morissette had his 2 points set up, and I think they felt maybe they had a chance to win this game, but full credit to the Martin foursome. They win it by the final of 6-5, and they are off to the Briar in Kamloops, which starts on March 2nd through 10th, and the 4th trip in 6 years for Kevin Martin's team. He has two new members on his rink this year. Don Walchuk has been to the Briar 4 times previously with Pat Ryan. This is the first time he will be going there with Kevin Martin. We're standing by. The closing ceremonies and trophy presentations are coming up in the next few seconds, but as we mentioned, the doubles were the big shots again for the Kevin Martin foursome. Let's go back to number 10 and take a look at that big shot by Kevin Martin. It was set up for him, and he came through beautifully, and he even hung on at the with his own shot there to force Frank Morissette to make the cool draw, and it ended in a score of 6-5, Kevin Martin winning this in 11 ends.
Things brewing.
And there you see the trophies are out on display as Kevin Martin and his rink get the instructions from the Safeway Select organizers here. A very proud moment for both of these teams. And, of course, for Kevin Martin, accepting his 4th provincial championship in the past 6 years, winning it previously, the last time, of course, in '95, when he beat Ed Lukowich last year in Edmonton. And Ron Myers, once again, just one of the best games of the week, certainly here, and a shame one of the teams had to lose today.
As we indicated right from the very, very beginning, we knew that it was going to boil down to last rock, and as it did, Kevin was able to salvage last stone and make good use of it. But a fantastic curling game. Just everything was done to perfection. I think all of the things that we expected to happen happened. Kevin played to his strength of removing stones, making doubles. Frank waiting for opportunities to get some breaks, and did. As he indicated in the interview, a big break there on the 5th end when Kevin got those 2 points.
Okay, and you were talking to Kevin Martin. You also alluded to the fact that an Olympic berth is up for grabs for the champion of the Briar this year, and also this weekend, Kerry Burtnick and Rick Folk met in a 2-out-of-3 series, and Kerry Burtnick won that 2-0 in 2 well-played games, 7-4 and 6-4, and now he goes off to the final 10. It should be a dream 10 in Brandon in 1997.
Once again, the Olympic aspect of this thing has added a new dimension to all of the playdowns in Canada, and Kevin Martin now has the opportunity to go there, and as he indicated, it's going to be, certainly just being in the Briar is a thrill, but you can't help but think that that Olympic dream that curlers have is finally coming forward, and teams are going to want to buy to get there.
Now, we talked about the Briar field a little bit earlier today. Not a lot of familiar names to teams who haven't been there. You got to think Kevin Martin is going to be one of the favorites to win it all.
Well, he certainly is. But as I said, this stuff is on ice. All of these people that are going, experience again is going to, the pressure of the Briar is going to be there. But Kevin Martin does rank definitely at the top. But don't count any of the other teams out. They can play. They obviously played hard to get there, and it is anybody's ball game.
Okay, now let's join the closing ceremonies in progress downstairs at ice level.
Introduce the runner-up team, and if they would come forward, please. Lead, Marlon Rosachuk. Second, Gary Jensen. Third, Brian Brown. Skip, Frank Morissette. Now I'd like
to
to
be
call
a tough
up
moment for Frank.
and introduce the 1996 Safeway Select Alberta Men's Curling Champions, the Kevin Martin team. Lead, Don Bartlett. Second, Sean Broda. Third, Don Walchuk. Skip, Kevin Martin.
Tough loss it was, as you indicate, Barry, for Frank Morissette, but he certainly hasn't let his fans down here at his home rink in Calgary. They played admirably. Second, Gary Jensen just made some fantastic shots in the latter part of that game. And as Frank indicated, maybe in the 10th end, if he hits that rock full rather than not worrying about whether Kevin's going to make the double, things may have changed as well.
And Kevin Martin never tiring of this ceremony.
Even though he has been the champion many times, interviewing him, he's still pumped, and you could feel that adrenaline absolutely moving through him as he is ready to accept this championship.
So Kevin Martin is the champion. He will represent Alberta at the Briar in a couple of weeks' time, March 2nd to 10th in Kamloops, and he will be a deserving representative of Alberta. That is our coverage here from the Calgary Curling Club. For Ron Myers, thanks very much for all of your input today, and our whole production crew. I'm Barry DeLay saying so long. Thanks for joining us.